मिल पा रही है। सरकार उद्योगपतियों के साथ खड़ी है। सरकार द्वारा लेबर कोड्स लाए गए हैं। जिन लेबर रिफॉर्म्स के रूप में दर्शाया जा रहा है वो लेबर कोड एम्प्लॉयर के हित में है, लेबर के पक्ष में नहीं है और मजदूरों के नहीं है। अब अधिकांश उद्योगों द्वारा लेबर को कोई भी नौकरी से निकाला जा सकता है। इतना तानाशाही होगी कि जब चाहेंगे तब निकाल देंगे। उनके 8 घंटे से अधिक काम कराया जा सकता है। परमानेंट एम्प्लॉयमेंट की बजाय कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल एम्प्लॉयमेंट की व्यवस्था की है सरकार ने। सोचिए, यही सरकार है कि सबका साथ सबका विकास। एयर पॉल्यूशन को लेकर के मैं पहले ही कह चुका हूं और शहरी विकास तो इनका मैंने क्यूटो को मैं देखा है, इसलिए उस क्यूटो के बारे में मैं ज्यादा नहीं कहना चाहता हूं। अंत में मैं इतना ही कहूंगा कि स्वास्थ्य और शिक्षा के केवल 10% और 14.2% बजट बढ़ाया गया है, जबकि पिछले वर्ष का पूरा बजट इन दोनों मदों में खर्च ही नहीं किया गया है। आखिरकार सरकार बताएगी खर्च क्यों नहीं हुआ, आखिर क्या कारण है, किसकी वजह से खर्च नहीं हुआ है। जल जीवन मिशन में 50,000 करोड़ रुपए खर्च नहीं हो पाए हैं और प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना में 40,000 करोड़ रुपए, और हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने गांव गोद लिया था। वो लगता है उस गांव को अनाथ छोड़ दिया प्रधानमंत्री जी ने। वो गांव ही अनाथ छोड़ दिया है। आरबीआई के डेटा के अनुसार इनकम में जो नीचे 80% हैं, उनकी इनकम का शेयर 36% से घट करके 32% हो गया है और हर वर्ष में रियल वेजेस 2% कम हो रही हैं। आखिरकार इसका कारण क्या है? मुझे उम्मीद है सरकार बताएगी कि इसका कारण क्या है कि जिसकी वजह से लगातार गिरावट होती जा रही है। मैं रैंकिंग में नहीं जाना चाहता हूं कि हमारी रैंकिंग कहां है, गैर बराबरी की रैंकिंग में हम कहां पहुंच गए हैं, हम कितना नीचे पहुंच गए हैं। जो तरह तरह की रैंकिंग समय समय पर आती हैं, उन रैंकिंग के बारे में सरकार को जरूर पता होगा कि हम एजुकेशन इंडेक्स में कहां हैं दुनिया में, हम हेल्थ इंडेक्स में कहां हैं दुनिया में, और जो एयर क्वालिटी के इंडेक्स है उसमें हम दुनिया में कहां हैं। इसलिए सभापति महोदय, मैं अंत में इतना ही कहना चाहता हूं कि ये बजट दिशाहीन है। 2047 तक विकसित भारत तो नहीं बनेगा, लेकिन हमारे गरीबों के साथ बहुत अन्याय होगा। जिस तरह एआई पे बात की गई है, एआई अगर अच्छाई और भलाई के लिए हो तो अच्छी बात है, लेकिन पता नहीं भारतीय जनता पार्टी पे कितना रिसोर्सेज हैं कि एआई और जितना भी हमारा वो है जो बजट है वो सबसे ज्यादा खर्च वो करते हैं दूसरों को बदनाम करने के लिए। इसलिए इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं सभापति महोदय का धन्यवाद देता हूं। मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि सरकार इस बजट को गरीबों की तरफ मोड़ेगी, पीडीए के लोगों की तरफ मोड़ेगी, जिससे वो भी मुख्य धारा में खड़े हो सकें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
माननीय सदस्यगण, अभी हम केंद्रीय बजट पर सामान्य चर्चा में हैं। अगला माननीय स्पीकर माननीय श्री अभिषेक बनर्जी जी।
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to speak on the general budget. Sir, I rise here today not merely just a member of the opposition, but as a voice of billion Indians who were promised Achhe Din and who today struggle to survive.
Choose Kotak 811 account खोलना 3 मिनट, मक्खन, FD, loans, debit card, credit card, सब smooth like Kotak 811 digital banking, FDs, loans, cards, mutual funds, सब मक्खन.
Get a metal debit card with Kotak 811.
It does not heal the economy. Rather, this budget curates headlines. It speaks loudly in slogans, but softly in solutions. So this is a budget that rewards those who can avoid taxes through privilege and punishes those who pay them honestly through compulsion. With all due respect to the Honorable Finance Minister, I think the Honorable Finance Minister is appearing to practice the Robin Hood model in reverse. She drains the poor through taxation and inflation while rewarding the rich with concessions and privileges. Sir, even a cup of tea today comes with GST, but relief for the common man comes with condition, clauses, terms, and regulation. This is not a simple tax regime. It's a maze where only the powerful knows the exit and the honest taxpayer keeps paying the entry fee. So Akhilesh ji was speaking before me. He was saying, यूपी के लिए क्या मिला है मैं इस बजट में देखना चाह रहा था. Sir, 85 minutes का finance minister का speech था. Bengal was not even mentioned once. Even the freight corridor from Dankuni, referenced in this very budget, was originally announced by the then railway minister in 2009, which was Mamata Banerjee, who is now the chief minister of West Bengal. The constitution promises equality among states, but this government practices preference. Allies are funded while opponents are starved. So this is not a model of cooperative federalism. This is a model of subscription-based federalism. So the budget and the manner in which the government chooses to function forces us to confront a truth that we as citizens have been avoiding for too long. So in November 2021, on a stage thousands of miles away at the Kennedy Center, Veer Das, a young stand-up comedian from India, spoke of two Indias. Many laughed, some were offended, few paused to listen. But what he offered was not comedy. It was a warning, a prophecy, a mirror held up to a nation standing at the edge of its own contradictions. Because I too, sir, come from two India. And I come from an India which proclaims Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat. And I also come from an India where mother tongue becomes a marker of suspicion, where speaking Bengali makes you a Bangladeshi and eating fish makes you a Mughal. Sir, I come from a part of India that gave birth to revolutionaries and wrote courage in blood. And I also represent an India where saying Joy Bangla or singing Amar Sonar Bangla is enough to strip you and brand you a labeled Ghuspetia. Sir, I come from an India that thunders Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas from every podium. And I come from an India where West Bengal's rightful dues to the tune of 1,96,000 crores are frozen in cold bureaucratic silence. Sir, what is withheld is not just money. What is withheld is dignity. What is withheld is constitutional promise that every Indian, every state stands equal before the union. This is not governance or federalism, sir. This is a message that you stand in line or you'll be made to pay the price. And that is the tragedy of our time. India has two faces, but that one India is being asked to kneel before the other is the truth that we all are facing today. Sir, I come from an India where the finance minister proudly declares with absolute confidence that India is the fastest growing economy in the world. And I come from another India where Bengal, after contributing 6.5 lakh crores in taxes in just last 7 years, is systematically denied its rightful share. So despite repeated requests and appeals, we have been denied employment under Manrega, housing under PM Awas Yojana, road connectivity under Gram Sadak Yojana, even basic drinking water under Jal Jeevan Mission is being stopped. So I come from an India that boasts of maximum governance, minimum government. And I also come from an India where governance means abandonment, where the poorest are forced to fight for roti kapda makan, where wages are held hostage, where houses are sanctioned on paper but erased in practice, where even drinking water becomes a bargaining chip in a political vendetta. I come from an India where farmers are stopped at the national capital with nail embedded in the roads with concrete barricades. And I also come from an India where terrorists can enter the national capital and carry out blast, killing 15 innocent people. I come from an India where we are told from the highest office. And I also come from an India where the promise lies in ruins. Terrorists crosses our border, infiltrated heavily guarded militarized zones like Pahalgam, and gunned down 26 innocent civilians under broad daylight. And Honorable Sir, all of these, the abandonment, the broken promises, the selective cruelty, it's not random, it's not accidental. It flows from a single unmistakable principle of this budget. So this budget is built on a single unmistakable principle, that is triple, teen. A writer once said, there are three kinds of lies: lies, damned lies, and statistics. Modern India lives with three certainties: pressure that mounts, taxes that multiply, and trust that is betrayed. So today, India lives under triple pressure, triple taxation, and triple betrayal, triple. So let me place before this August House my 10 principles of triple. सर पहले है ट्रिपल टैक्स ट्रैप। एक आम इंसान को लगता है मैं एक बार इनकम टैक्स दे रहा हूं, बट आई विल एक्सप्लेन टू द चेयर एंड शेयर विद दिस ऑगस्ट हाउस दैट हाउ a common man is being taxed 3 times over, not once, twice, but thrice. So the first blow is the income tax. The salaried citizen pay tax even before the salary reaches his bank account. There is no escape, no negotiation, no adjustment made for inflation. In today's India, honesty doesn't pay, it costs. So number 2 is GST. From the first biscuit with the morning tea to a school notebook, from sugar and spices in the kitchen to the electricity bills, from hospital expenses to medical expenses, from soap in the bathroom to the software at work, indirect taxes follows everywhere. Sir, जहां सरकार की वेलफेयर स्कीम्स नहीं पहुंचती है, वहां भी जीएसटी पहुंच जाती है. The government celebrates record GST revenue, but this number do not reflect growth or prosperity. They reflect a system squeezing revenue from consumption, often from necessity, not choice. So third tax is inflation, the most silent tax of all. The tax that rises without permission and collects without responsibility. It's a slow leak in the common man's wallet. For the middle class, inflation feels like the salary comes on time, but it doesn't last the month. The same grocery list costs more, the same school fees feel heavier, and the same electricity bill shocks more than even before. Nothing extra is being bought, yet money disappears faster. It quietly eats into savings meant for children's education, family travel, medical emergency, or old age. Sir, I come from an India that proudly calls itself a Vishwa Guru. And I also come from an India that is teaching the world how to extract triple tax out of a single citizen. So my triple number 2, triple pain of proving your existence. So let us be honest. Voting today is no longer considered enough. Having one's name on the electoral rolls for decades is no longer enough. Even service to the nation is no longer enough. You may be a decorated soldier, a Nobel laureate, a sitting High Court justice, or even a member of this August House, and still you have been asked to prove that you belong. This strikes the heart of Article 326 of the Constitution, which guarantees adult citizens the right to vote. Sir, in Bengal alone, 150 lives have been lost in the last couple of months, and nearly 1 crore people are today being treated as suspects. If electoral rolls are so unreliable that every citizen must continually reprove their legitimacy, then by that same logic, sir, the legitimacy of this very house formed on the basis of this very electoral rolls is itself questionable. Yes. So my triple number 3, and I'll talk of 3 betrayal. First betrayal is where the global crude oil prices crash. Indian citizen sees no benefit. Instead, the common man is generally offered ethanol mixed petrol at a premium, paying extra for a policy experiment he neither demanded nor benefits from. My second betrayal, the government boasts of bullet trains, which Achilles ji is also mentioned. While fancy trains make the headlines, only 4% of the network is safeguarded with Kavach, leaving ordinary travelers exposed to risk. Third betrayal. So the ordinary Indian doesn't ask for any miracle. They ask for clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, safe roads to return home, and affordable healthcare while life falters. Even these simple hopes remain uncertain. An ordinary citizen pays income tax to buy a vehicle.
मैसेज डियर इन्वेस्टर, एक एक्सपर्ट स्टॉक टिप खास आपके लिए। ये ऐप डाउनलोड करो और पैसे डबल करो।
एक्सपर्ट जी, बदमाश का बाप हूं मैं। ऐप डाउनलोड करने से पहले मैं आपका पूरा रिपोर्ट कार्ड निकालूं। मैं मूर्ख नहीं हूं।
डिस्टेंस यूपीआई कहता है अगर कोई ऐसी सलाह दे तो पहले एडवाइजर की पूरी जांच कर ले और कहे मैं मूर्ख नहीं। जाइए आप भी किसी का टेस्ट लीजिए।
Triple bonanzas for the rich. So this budget reveals a clear pattern. First, a triple bonanza for the elites and a triple lock on the poor. So top 10% of this country now corner 57% of nation's income and 65% of its wealth, while the bottom half survives on just 6.4%. In this economy, money earns money, but survival earns nothing. Second, so if you look at taxation and support, foreign cloud giants are handed tax holidays, while Indian MSME, the very backbone of employment, are left empty-handed. Sir, relief exists on paper, but in actual distress exists on the ground. Third, corporate India gets red carpet, easier property rules, wider equity access for NRIs and massive infrastructure promises. But the result of these government policies is not competition, it is concentration. Oligopolies flourish, entry barriers rise, and ordinary entrepreneurs are kept outside the gate, watching cronies grow richer with the union support. Sir, I come from an India where wealth is applauded as a virtue. And I also come from an India where survival itself is treated as ambition. I come from an India where policy quietly opens the gates for the powerful. And I also come from an India that stand outside those gates with hands folded, backs bent, hearts heavy, and eyes raised, hoping that one day these gates will open for them too. Now at 555, farmers. So the budget completes a cycle of betrayal. Every day, nearly 30 farmers dies by suicide. Not because they failed, but because policy failed them. 5 years after the historic farmers movement, which saw 700 lives lost, the union government has still refused to legalize MSP. Promises were made at protest sites. Assurances were echoed in parliament, but delivery never followed. And now, adding salt to the injury, the government has now announced a trade deal with the United States that will open Indian markets to heavily subsidized American farm produce. The deal may benefit American farmers, but it will depress prices, destroy competitiveness, and further marginalize Indian farmers who struggle without MSP protection. So this is not a trade policy. This is an abandonment of our Annadata. Sir, I have a tweet right in front of me, which I want to show or place before you. Sir, Secretary Brooke Rollins, who is the Agricultural Secretary of the United States, she said, and this is 5 days back, on the day when the trade deal was announced, she's clearly saying, new US-India deal will export more American farm products to India's massive market. In 2024, America's agricultural trade deficit with India was 1.3 billion. India's growing population is an important market for American agricultural products, and today's deal will go a long way to reduce that deficit. So this is not my tweet. She clearly says, thank you, President of the United States, for once again delivering for our American farmers. If the government doesn't agree with a tweet, so where is the disapproval letter, or where is the communication that the government has sent in protest to the tweet that has been sent out 5 days back? सर, अमेरिका का एग्रीकल्चर सेक्रेटरी कह रहा है इस डील से अमेरिका का किसानों का फायदा है, इसीलिए हम अमेरिका का सभापति का धन्यवाद करता है. And the Indian government of the union has not written a line in protest of what the agriculture secretary has tweeted. So now I come to youth. So the much publicized PM internship scheme was allocated over 10,800 crores. Less than 5% of the amount has been utilized. Similarly, the PM Young Achiever Scholarship, which was meant to uplift the talented students from marginalized backgrounds, saw 31% of its fund go unused in financial year 25-26. Sir, if I speak of women, more than 86 women are raped every day in this country. A number that reflects systematic collapse, not isolated crime. Sir, Bengal exercised its constitutional authority and passed the Aparajita Bill, a stringent anti-rape law providing the strongest deterrence against crime against women. So the bill was duly sent to the union through the governor about 18 to 19 months ago. For a year and a half, it has remained pending without any decision. So when a democratically passed law maintained to strengthen protection is left in a limbo, it expresses a lack of intent. This reminds me that I come from an India that promises to double farmers' income. And I come from an India where 1,11,174 farmers and agricultural laborers, brothers and sisters have been forced to commit suicide. I come from an India which launched Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. And I come from another India where every 16 minutes a rape or a crime against women is being reported. So now I come to 3 cracks in the constitution. Number 1, so hatred has now been normalized. It has moved from margin to the mainstream. So if I talk about cases registered for promoting enmity between religious and social groups, the number of cases has doubled between 2021 and 2023. And this rise didn't happen in silence. It happened alongside political speeches, public rallies, and calculated dog whistles. When hate goes unpunished, it spreads. When it spreads, minorities pay the price. Second, hate is no longer whispered. It has become a broadcast. So our country has documented more than 1,300 hate speeches in a single year. When such volume of hate fills public space, the government refuses to act decisively, swiftly, then the message is clear, sir. Intimidation is tolerated and silence is the union's policy. Third, the education empowerment scheme under the Ministry of Minority Affairs has just used 8% of its total funds, while the 35% of the ministry's allocation, 27% under tribal affairs, and 28% under scheduled tribes remain unutilized. So even schemes like a scholarship like Maulana Azad National Fellowship, pre-matric scholarship, and Paro Pradesh have been hollowed out. So now I come to 777, which is the triple power grab. Over the last decade, the government has treated institutions as the government's own personal property. So the parliament is silenced, debates are curtailed.
अंधेरे में उजाला है, हमने जाना है अभी, ये जो जादू सा सीखा है हमने अभी, सीखेंगे तेरे लिए। ओ पार्टी, हम जो गए थे सबक फिर वही, सीखेंगे तेरे लिए। ये दुनिया तेरे हवाले।
When institutions are bent to serve power and national assets are reduced to headlines and handover, the constitution is not broken in protest, it's torn apart. Sir, I come from an India where the Honorable Prime Minister says, na khaunga, na khane dunga. And I also come from an India where questioning the washing machine that gave reprieve to 23 of the 25 leaders who joined the BJP makes you the most corrupt one. So now I come to triple jumla on finances. Agriculture. So the budget waxes eloquent about coconut, cocoa, cashew, sandalwood, fisheries and AI advisories, but remains silent on MSP assurances, procurement expansion. There is no price stabilization fund, no diesel support, no fertilizer relief, and no electrical subsidy. This is diversification without security, and it leaves the majority of Indian farmers trapped in distress. So even the PM Kisan scheme has been stuck at 6,000 rupees since December 2018. Despite soaring input costs and record diesel prices, so in actual, if we see real terms, farmers are earning less each year. A rupee in 2018 is not a rupee in 2026. So if I speak of healthcare, the government spends less than 0.26% of the GDP. And they might have questions on my source of information. If the need be, I will place all the sources before the table by 8 p.m. tonight. The government spends 0.26% of GDP on public health even today. The national health policy promised 2.5% of GDP. What we get instead is postponement, excuses, and under-allocation. In a country where illness is still the fastest road to poverty, this budget chooses flyover over first aid, optics over oxygen, and announcement over actual care. So if I speak of infrastructure, the smart city mission promised transformation in 100 cities with over 2 lakh crore. Yet a decade later, what we have is half-dug roads and half-built homes. Instead of finishing the job, this budget announces new economic regions. So under the Jal Jeevan mission, funds were cut by 74%, forcing states to pick up the bill. In higher education, 55,000 crore is spent on management, but 2.68 crore on infrastructure, not even enough to build a world-class lab. So now I come to my 999, the triple truth trap. And what I mean by truth is, the accountability on the governments are primarily rests on 3 pillars. One is the RTI Act. But when I speak of transparency, it diluted the RTI Act by expanding personal information as a ground for refusal. So if you speak of PM cares, the PMO claims it lies outside the purview of RTI because it's a private fund. A fund that is created by public authority in a public office with the money of the people is being claimed as a private fund. There's no accountability. So NFHS and NCRB data has been frozen because welfare still runs on census 2011. So if I am to summarize the budget from the perspective of 3 stalwarts, B.R. Ambedkar warned us. What is the moral verdict of the budget? If we have to look at it from the perspective of Dr. Ambedkar, Gandhi ji, or Swami Vivekananda, Dr. Ambedkar warned us that democracy is not just institutions. It is a constitutional morality. Gandhi ji taught us economics divorced from ethics is violence. Swami Vivekananda reminded us that a nation cannot rise by crushing the weakest. Well, this budget violates all three. In today's India, sir, tax does not follow income. Tax follows life. आज के भारत में टैक्स कमाई के पीछे नहीं, जिंदगी के पीछे है, चलता है सर. I will give you a small example. A baby is born, his milk and diapers are taxed. He grows, his education is taxed. He studies, his books, pencil and mobile data are taxed. He starts earning, his income is taxed. He saves for future, his savings are taxed. He spends to survive, his survival is taxed. He goes to work, his fuel is taxed. He falls sick, his illness is taxed. He grows old, pension and healthcare are also taxed. And Honorable Speaker, even after his death, the family still pays tax. बच्चा पैदा होता है, दूध और डाइपर पर टैक्स, पढ़ाई शुरू होती है, शिक्षा पर टैक्स, किताबें, नोटबुक, पेन, पेंसिल, मोबाइल डेटा सब पर टैक्स, कमाई शुरू होता है, इनकम पर टैक्स, सर बचत करता है, बचत के ऊपर टैक्स, जीने के लिए खर्च करता है, खर्च पे टैक्स, काम पर जाता है, पेट्रोल डीजल पर टैक्स, बीमार पड़ता है, इलाज और दवाई पर टैक्स, बुढ़ापा आता है, पेंशन और इलाज पे टैक्स, और मौत के बाद भी सर शोक सभा में अगरबत्ती जलाने के लिए भी परिवार को टैक्स देना पड़ता है. This summarizes the budget. Sir, I am addressing the chair. I'm sure the finance minister will have a reply ready. When she is given the opportunity to speak, she can quote me, and if I am misleading the house, she can take my name and then place her arguments. Sir, from a baby's first milk to a citizen's final farewell, this government taxes life at every step. जन्म से लेके अंतिम संस्कार तक हर कदम पर टैक्स. ये रिफॉर्म नहीं सर, ये लाइफ टाइम टैक्स ट्रैप है. सर, नाउ आई कम टू 1010, मेरा लास्ट ट्रिपल. मैंने 9 ट्रिपल का बात किया, अब 10वां कर रहा हूं. सर, आई विल एंड विद 3 dates, 3 moments of history: 2016, 2021 and 2024. 3 elections, 3 verdicts, 3 decisive defeats for the BJP in West Bengal. And after this triple defeat, a 4th one is no longer a warning. It is approaching. Sir, मैं ज़रा घुमाऊंगा नहीं. Let me come straight. So the government want to punish Bengal. Let them proceed. We won't bow. You want to freeze our funds? We will persist. मैं क्यों कह रहा हूं persist? क्योंकि पीएम आवास से लेके, सड़क से लेके, मनरेगा से लेके सारे पैसे बंगाल के पिछले 5 साल से ये सरकार ने रोक के रखा है. प्रधानमंत्री ने आत्मनिर्भर भारत की बात किया है, हम स्वनिर्भर बंगाल क्या होता है काम करके दिखाया है. So you want to punish Bengal? Proceed, we won't bow. You want to freeze our funds? We will persist. You want to profile and persecute our youth? We will protect them. You want to starve our schemes? We will sustain our people. Bengal's spine was not ever bent by surrender, nor softened by sermons of hate. It is forged in struggle, tempered in sacrifice, and is not for sale. Go ahead, send your audits. We will answer them. Unleash your agencies. We will confront them. Delay our clearances. We will chronicle. And we'll have to blink first. So this reminds me again that I come from an India that celebrates labor as a backbone of the economy, the hands that build our highways, factories, ports, cities, this parliament. But I also represent an India where that very labor, when it travels from Bengal, is no longer seen as a labor, he's seen as a suspect. Punished for the language he speaks. I come from an India where Northeast is proudly called Ashtalakshmi. And I also come from an India where Manipur bled for 864 days and the Prime Minister found no time to visit. I come from an India that derives its vocabulary from Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. And I also come from an India where Vidyasagar's bust was vandalized by ruling party at the center. I come from an India where we worship Ma Durga as Supreme Shakti. And I also come from an India where Ma Durga's ancestry is questioned by BJP leaders. Sir, I really come from to India. And honestly, I'm tired of explaining this house which India I belong to. Because the truth are, they both exist. And until and unless we acknowledge the second one exists, we will never be able to be the first one we claim to be. So budgets can divide, politics can polarize, power can pretend, but there's something deeper than budgets, older than governments, and stronger than fear, which is the moral imagination of the people. When institutions weaken and language loses its faith, it is our literature, our culture, our shared memory that rises to remind the nation of who it is and who it must never cease to be. So I finally return to the Constitution. When you open the Constitution, it opens with the words, "We, the people of India." It's not a ceremonial phrase. It's a declaration of sovereignty. It's a reminder that power flows upward from the people, not the other way down. That governments may rule, but people remain the supreme. That sentence is not meant to be recited. It is meant to be lived. And as long as people remember it, no fear can last, no injustice can endure, and no republic can ever truly be taken away. And thus today, I do not end with slogans. I end with conscience, and I end with voice of Bengal. এই মৃত্যু উপত্যকা আমার দেশ না, এই জল্লাদের উল্লাস মঞ্চ আমার দেশ না, এই বিস্তীর্ণ শ্মশান আমার দেশ না, এই রক্তস্নাত কসাইখানা আমার দেশ না। আমি আমার দেশকে ফিরে কেড়ে নেব। জয় হিন্দ, জয় বাংলা।
Thank you. Next speaker, Sri T.R. Baluji.
Honorable Chairman, sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity to discuss on the subject matter of budget May 26-27. First of all, I would like to congratulate Madam Nirmala Sitharaman ji for having brought the budget estimates for the consecutive 9th time. Thanks to Shishidambaram, who has also done the same thing in the same parliament. Sir, Finance Minister claims she aims at develop India by 2047. India has programmed like artificial intelligence, biopharma, semiconductors, critical minerals, and they are given a lot of priority and importance. But the question is, how efficiently Madam Nirmala ji is going to implement them with a sustained push. So strategy of the government is said to be reducing revenue expenditure and increasing capital expenditure. It is also claimed that revenue expenditure has fallen by 11% in the last 10 years. That is from 88% in 2014-15 to 77% 26-27. It is also stated the reduction of the revenue expenditure included 7% of subsidies. But what is the reality? The usual practice is reduction of subsidies in the budget is made, and in the next 6 months we come up with additional demands for subsidies through supplementary demands. That is what I have also mentioned in the last supplementary demands in 25-26. Within 6 months, things became haywire. Now at the end of the current fiscal year, you are saying that the revenue receipts shortfall is around 78,086 crores. Decrease in revenue expenditure is 1,05,503 crores. The fall in capital expenditure is 1,44,376 crores. It's a very huge fall. It gives no hope of credibility. Budget 26-27. Expenditure estimated is 53.43 lakhs crores. Expenditure proposed in 25-26 was 50.65 lakhs crores. Now FM is asking 3 lakh crores more in upcoming fiscal year. Usually the government used to announce big schemes in the budget, but even after several months, no progress is a result. Last year, 15th August, employment linked incentive (ELI) scheme was announced, an incentive to labor and industry to provide additional 3.5 lakhs crores. 5 crores jobs with the outlay of 99,446 crores was launched, but the scheme has not taken off. Another non-starter is Research and Development Innovation RDI scheme announced with the effect from 1/7/25 and was said to be implemented with a corpus of 1 lakh crore, and provision of 20,000 crores was made in 25-26 budget. But no progress has been achieved in this effort. Also, this was also properly responded by the Honorable Minister during his reply in the Lok Sabha. Coconut production in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is the second largest coconut production state. 12 lakh acres are under cocoa cultivation next to paddy. Beside Pollachi, Vattukotai, Tiruchi, Dindikkal and others, southern districts are major coconut producing districts. It has got high export potential to an extent of 3,500 crores per year. The production has fallen because of the root diseases, but Government of India has not taken care and the root diseases still remain. The economic survey pointed out that the agricultural growth has slowed down to 3.5% in 25-26 from 4.4%, nearly 1.1%. Cashews, etc. will be given special support, but the allocation was just 350 crores only. The farmers' organization are condemning this announcement of government is nothing but a naive rhetoric. Banana is another crop that requires special attention and support from Government of India. Tamil Nadu is #1 in banana cultivation and exports around 4,000 crores every year. Government of India should come forward to give special intensive to banana cultivation to boost exports. Union government has been giving stepmotherly treatment to Tamil Nadu, and there has been no special scheme or financial allocation so far. Even the prestigious projects like Seth Samatram, which were implemented by UPA, has been shelved on political grounds. UPA government had gifted 69 large projects and very important projects in all sectors during 2004 and 2014. The last of the schemes included the Tamil as Samori, Chennai port as to Madurai elevated bridge of 21 kilometers, abolition of Sanwar to protect textile industry, new railway station, new railway division at Chalem, Thiruvarur Central University, IIM at Trichy, Indian Maritime University at Chennai, etc. On the contrary, it lasts 12 years. For the past 12 years, one project has come, that is Ames Madurai. Not yet taken up. Ames Madurai is still under the ground. It has not yet been taken up. Tamil Nadu CM had also stated during UPA, Tamil Nadu was allotted 11% of plan expenditure, and now Tamil Nadu is given 0 only. Government of India is not funding Metro Rail Project number 2. Samagra Shiksha fund to the tune of 3,548 crores, not at release. Madurai and Coimbatore Metro which has been provided 21,000 crores, and project submitted to the Central Union Government has not given approval. But at the same time, small towns like Agra, Bhubaneswar, Navi Mumbai, and Indore have been permitted. Jal Jeevan Fund rupees 3,112 crores has not been released. Railway schemes 289.73 crores to Thiruvananthapuram Kanyakumari not released so far for the land acquisition. Further, to purchase 931 hectares of land, funds have not been provided. CM Tamil Nadu has also urged that the devolution from the divisible pool from taxes should be increased to 50%, but it has fallen on deaf ears of the union government, and at present 41% is retained. I also urge the Government of India that cess and other taxes which are not being shared with the state should be abolished immediately, or they should be brought under the divisible pool. Such anti-federal attitude and exploitation must be ended. What happened to the promises made by the Honorable Prime Minister of India? 2 lakhs jobs per year. What has happened? 15 lakhs per family. What has happened? Nobody, it's all dumbfounded. For this question, always for the past 10 years, Government of India, the people of Government of India representing the Government of India, they are keeping lukewarm position. Much talked about MSP not implemented. Double the agriculture income not implemented. And Dr. Swaminathan's recommendations have become only slogans to every election. People of the industry, business, the middle class, and even the ordinary men on the street have expressed dissatisfaction and said your budget is nothing but rhetoric of a sloganeering government with little use to the common mass. Before I conclude, how are you going to arrest the jet speed depreciation of rupee against US dollar? It is already around 92 per dollar. Prime Minister has landed this budget as a historic. There is proverb in Tamil, Kakaki Tangunjam Pungunji. It means to a crow, its offering is golden. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Sri B. Nagaraj.
Respected Speaker, sir. మన గౌరవనీయ ప్రధానమంత్రి నరేంద్ర మోడీ గారి యొక్క దూరదృష్టి నాయకత్వాన్ని ప్రశంసిస్తూ 2026-2027 ఆర్థిక సంవత్సరానికి ముందు చూపుతో మరియు ఆర్థిక క్రమశిక్షణతో కూడినటువంటి కేంద్ర బడ్జెట్ ను సమర్పించినటువంటి గౌరవనీయులైన ఆర్థిక మంత్రి నిర్మలా సీతారామన్ గారిని అభినందిస్తూ వికసిత్ భారత్ లక్ష్యంగా ఈ ఆర్థిక సంవత్సరపు బడ్జెట్ ను 3 కర్తవ్యాల ఆధారంగా రూపుదిద్దుకుంది అధ్యక్ష. అందులో భాగంగా మొదటి అంశం వచ్చేసి ఆర్థిక వృద్ధిని వేగవంతం చేయడం, రెండవ అంశం వచ్చేసి సామర్థ్యాన్ని పెంపొందించడం, మూడవ అంశం సమగ్రాభివృద్ధిని నిర్ధారించడం. ఈ 3 అంశాల ఆధారంగా ఇది స్పష్టమైన మ్యాక్రో ఆర్థిక దిశను నిర్దేశిస్తా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో ముఖ్యంగా అధ్యక్ష నాన్ డెబిట్ రిసిప్ట్స్ కోసం 36.5 లక్షల కోట్ల రూపాయలను మరియు మొత్తం వ్యయంను 53.5 lakhs కోట్లను అంచనా వేయబడింది అధ్యక్ష. మూలధన వ్యయం వచ్చేసి 12.2 లక్షల కోట్లకు పెంచబడింది అధ్యక్ష, ఎన్నడూ లేని విధంగా. అంతేగాక ఇది వచ్చేసి ముఖ్యంగా ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో మౌలిక వసతుల మరియు ఆధారిత వృద్ధికి ప్రభుత్వం యొక్క కట్టుబాటును చూపిస్తా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే ఆర్థిక లోటు వచ్చేసి జీడిపిలో 4.3% తగ్గించబడింది. రుణం మరియు జీడిపి నిష్పత్తి 55.6% కి తగ్గేలా అంచనా వేయబడింది అధ్యక్ష. ఈ సంఖ్యలన్నవి అభివృద్ధి మరియు ఆర్థిక క్రమశిక్షణ మధ్య సమతుల్యతను ప్రతిబింబిస్తా ఉన్నాయి అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే అధ్యక్ష, ప్రతిపక్షాలు ఇంతసేపు వారి యొక్క స్పీచ్ లో ఇంతసేపు ఉన్నా కూడా గవర్నమెంట్ మీద నిందలు మోపుతూ బడ్జెట్ మీద ఇది చేస్తాం, అది సరికాదు అధ్యక్ష. ఎందుకంటే భారత్ అనేది తయారీ రంగంలో మేక్ ఇన్ ఇండియాలో ఎస్పెషల్లీ వ్యూహాత్మక రంగాలకు పెద్దపీట వేయబడింది అధ్యక్ష. అందులో భాగంగా బయోఫార్మా శక్తి కోసం 10,000 కోట్ల రూపాయలను మరియు ఎలక్ట్రానిక్స్ భాగాల తయారీకి 40,000 కోట్ల రూపాయలను, కార్బన్ క్యాప్చర్ సాంకేతికలకు 20,000 కోట్ల రూపాయలను మరియు ఛాంపియన్ ఎస్ఎంఈల కింద 10,000 కోట్ల రూపాయల నిధిని ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో ఏర్పాటు చేశారు అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే అధ్యక్ష, ఇప్పుడున్నటువంటి ఆధునిక యుగంలో పాశ్చాత్య దేశాలతో పోటీ పడుతూ టెక్నాలజీని ఇప్పుడున్నటువంటి ప్రజలకు అవసరాల కోసం ఏ రోజుకి ఆ రోజు పోటీ పడుతూ ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో 7 హైస్పీడ్ రైలు కారిడార్లను ప్రతిపాదించబడ్డాయి అధ్యక్ష. అంతేగాక 20 జాతీయ జల మార్గాలు అభివృద్ధి చేయబడుతున్నాయి అధ్యక్ష. మూలధన వ్యయం కింద చరిత్రాత్మక స్థాయిలో ఎన్నడూ లేని విధంగా ఉపయోగిస్తా ఉన్నారు అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే ఇది సాధారణ బడ్జెట్ కాదు అధ్యక్ష, ఇది నిర్మాణాత్మక సంస్కరణల బడ్జెట్ గా భావిస్తున్నాను అధ్యక్ష. సరఫరా గొలుసులను మరియు బలోపేతం చేయడమే కాకుండా ఎగుమతులను పెంపొందించడం మరియు సూక్ష్మ మరియు మధ్య తరహా పరిశ్రమలను ప్రోత్సహించడంలో భాగంగా రైతులకు మద్దతు ధర ఇవ్వడంలో మరియు భారతదేశాన్ని గ్లోబల్ పోటీలో ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్లడంలో భాగంగా ముఖ్య ఉద్దేశంగా ఈ బడ్జెట్ ను రూపొందించారని తెలియజేస్తా ఉన్నాను అధ్యక్ష. అధ్యక్ష, ఇప్పుడు ముఖ్యంగా మా ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రానికి ఈ బడ్జెట్ ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రానికి ఎలా ప్రయోజనం చేకూర్చిందో ప్రత్యేకంగా 2 విషయాల్లో
One good photo.
Yeah, we want to book the same boat again.
My dress. It looks like a Halloween costume.
Water sport, dinner with a view, and feeding the elephants. Everything exactly the same.
और इस फोटो में तुम्हारा फोकस किधर?
Only elephant cannot. Elephant not available anymore.
What do you mean there are no elephants anymore?
You mean monkey?
Baby, all bookings redone. हम दोबारा जा रहे हैं. इस बार सिर्फ एलिफेंट्स की जगह पे मंकीज को फिट करना पड़ेगा. और उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
कहीं
మ్యాగ్నెట్ కారిడార్ల ప్రకటన మరియు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ కు చారిత్రాత్మక అవకాశం కల్పించినటువంటి అవకాశం మరియు ఖనిజ సంపద ఉన్నటువంటి రాష్ట్రంగా మేము తవ్వకాల దశను దాటి విలువ ఆధారిత పరిశ్రమల వైపు అడుగులు వేస్తూ ప్రాసెసింగ్ మరియు పరిశోధన ఆధునిక తయారీ వైపు ముందుకు సాగుతున్న విధంగా పనిచేస్తా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. ఈ బడ్జెట్ అన్నది ఏపీలో వచ్చేసి అధ్యక్ష మాకు తీర ప్రాంతంలో సుదీర్ఘంగా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. అందులో భాగంగా మత్స్య మరియు ఎగుమతులకు క్లస్టర్లకు మద్దతు ఎంతో ప్రయోజనం చేకూర్చే విధంగా ఈ బడ్జెట్ రూపొందించారు అధ్యక్ష. అంతేగాక డ్యూటీ ఫ్రీ దిగుమతుల పరిమితిని 1% నుంచి 3% వరకు పెంచడం వలన వ్యయం భారం తగ్గుతుంది అధ్యక్ష. అందులో భాగంగా భారతదేశ ఈజెడ్ లో చేపల వేటకు ఇచ్చినటువంటి మద్దతు మా మత్స్యకారులకు ఆదాయం పెంపుకు దోహదపడతా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే అధ్యక్ష, ట్రైబల్ ఏరియాలో భాగంగా అరకులోయలో సస్టైనబుల్ మౌంటైన్ ట్రైల్స్ ను మరియు పులికాట్ సరస్సు యొక్క పరిసరాల్లో ఈ పక్షి వీక్షణ మార్గాలను ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ కు పర్యావరణ పరంగా పర్యాటక పరంగా కేంద్రంగా నిలబడుతున్నాయి అధ్యక్ష. ఇవి కాక ఉపాధి అవకాశాలను పెంచడమే కాకుండా గిరిజన ప్రాంతాలకు మద్దతిస్తూ ఉన్నట్టుగా ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో కేటాయించారు అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే ముఖ్యంగా అధ్యక్ష 600 కోట్లతో నైపుణ్య మరియు రూపాంతర పైలట్ కార్యక్రమంలో భాగంగా ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ఎంపిక చేయడం చాలా గర్వంగా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. ఎందుకంటే యువతకు పెద్ద అవకాశంగా మారుతా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. ఇది మా యువత ఉద్యోగార్థులనే కాకుండా ఉద్యోగ సృష్టికర్తలుగా మార్చే దిశగా ఇది సహాయపడుతుందని తెలియజేస్తా ఉన్నాను అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే అధ్యక్ష, మా ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ కు ముఖ్యంగా ఈ బుల్లెట్ ట్రైన్ లో భాగంగా హైదరాబాద్ టు చెన్నై టు బెంగళూరు ఈ హై స్పీడ్ కారిడార్ అనేవి మా రాష్ట్రానికి చాలా చాలా ఉపయోగంగా ఉన్నాయి అధ్యక్ష. ఎందుకంటే ఈ హైదరాబాద్ టు చెన్నై అనే కార్యక్రమంలో భాగంగా మా అమరావతి అనేది టచ్ అవుతుంది అధ్యక్ష. ముఖ్యంగా ఈ బెంగళూరు టు హైదరాబాద్ అనే కార్యక్రమంలో మా సొంత పార్లమెంట్ అనేటువంటి కర్నూలు ముఖ్యంగా ఉంది కాబట్టి చాలా చాలా గర్వంగా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. అంతేగాక ముఖ్యంగా ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో అధ్యక్ష మాకు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ జీవనాధారమైనటువంటి పోలవరం జీవనాడి లాంటిది అధ్యక్ష. అది 2027 కల్లా కంప్లీట్ చేయాలని ప్రతినిశ్చయంతో ఉన్నటువంటి ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ప్రభుత్వానికి ఈ జలవనరుల శాఖకు ముఖ్యంగా అత్యధికంగా నిధులు కేటాయించినందుకు చాలా మరొకసారి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను అధ్యక్ష. అంతేగాక అమరావతి నిర్మాణం అనేది మాకు స్టేట్ క్యాపిటల్ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అధ్యక్ష. ఆ స్టేట్ క్యాపిటల్ నిర్మాణంలో భాగంగా అర్బన్ డెవలప్మెంట్ అథారిటీకి పట్టణాభివృద్ధి శాఖ కూడా నిధులు పుష్కలంగా కేటాయించినందుకు నిర్మలా సీతారామన్ మేడం గారికి మరొకసారి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను అధ్యక్ష. అంతేగాక ఈ బడ్జెట్ అనేది ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ను భారతదేశ అభివృద్ధి ప్రయాణంలో వ్యూహాత్మక భాగస్వామిగా గుర్తించింది అధ్యక్ష మా స్టేట్ ను. ఇకపోతే అధ్యక్ష, మా ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ముఖ్యమంత్రి వర్యులైనటువంటి గౌరవనీయ నారా చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారి యొక్క దూరదృష్టి నాయకత్వంలో ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ కు ఈ కేటాయింపులు ఉన్నటివి వేగవంతమైన అభివృద్ధిగా మార్చగలవు. ఈ పెట్టుబడులను ముఖ్యంగా పరిశ్రమలకు మరియు ఏపీ యొక్క భవిష్యత్తును మార్చాలని చెప్పేసి భావిస్తున్నాం అధ్యక్ష. ఇకపోతే అధ్యక్ష, ఫైనల్ గా ఇప్పుడు నా నియోజకవర్గం కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ గురించి 2 విషయాలు తెలియజేయాలని తెలుసు అధ్యక్ష. ముఖ్యంగా ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో మా కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ కు హైదరాబాద్ బెంగళూరు కారిడార్ లో భాగంగా కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ అనేది మధ్య ప్రాంతంలో వస్తుంది అధ్యక్ష. మాకు చాలా సునాయాసంగా 2 రాష్ట్రాల మధ్యన 2 మెట్రోపాలిటన్ సిటీస్ మధ్యన మా కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ కు ఈ బుల్లెట్ ట్రైన్ వస్తున్నందుకు చాలా గర్వంగా ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. అంతేగాక ఈ రోడ్ మినిస్ట్రీలో భాగంగా ఈ రోడ్ మినిస్ట్రీకి అత్యధికంగా డబ్బులు కేటాయింపులు జరిగినాయి అధ్యక్ష ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో. అందులో భాగంగా మా కర్నూలు బళ్ళారి నేషనల్ హైవే వేయాలని చెప్పేసి కోరుకుంటున్నాను అధ్యక్ష. అంతేగాక ముఖ్యంగా అధ్యక్ష, గత బడ్జెట్ లో మా కర్నూలు ప్రాంతంలో ఓర్వకల్కు ఇండస్ట్రియల్ నోడ్ ఇచ్చినటువంటి గంట కూడా ఎన్డీఏ కూటమి అధ్యక్ష. అందులో భాగంగా మాకు పూర్వోదయ స్కీమ్ కింద ఆ ఓర్వకల్ హబ్ లో ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ స్టీల్ హబ్స్ ఏర్పాటు చేయాలని చెప్పేసి కోరుకుంటున్నాం అధ్యక్ష. ఎందుకంటే మా అంతా వెనకబడ్డ ప్రాంతం అధ్యక్ష. ఈ పూర్వోదయ స్కీమ్ లో భాగంగా మంత్రాలయం రైల్వే కనెక్టివిటీ కూడా వేయాలని చెప్పేసి ఆశిస్తున్నాం అధ్యక్ష. అంతేగాక ముఖ్యంగా అధ్యక్ష, అటల్ భుజన్ యోజన కింద, ఎందుకంటే మా రాయలసీమ ప్రాంతం అంతా చాలా డ్రాఫ్ట్ ఏరియా, ఆ ప్రాంతంలో గ్రౌండ్ వాటర్ డెవలప్ చేయాలంటే అటల్ భుజన్ యోజన పథకం కింద సెలెక్టెడ్ కాబట్టి మా జిల్లాకు ప్రత్యేకంగా నిధులు కేటాయించాలని చెప్పేసి కోరుకుంటున్నాను అధ్యక్ష. రెస్పెక్టెడ్ స్పీకర్ సార్, చివరిగా ముఖ్యంగా మా గౌరవనీయ చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ముఖ్యమంత్రి వర్యుల యొక్క నాయకత్వంలో ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ రాష్ట్రం పరిపాలనా సామర్థ్యం మరియు సాంకేతిక దృష్టి మరియు సంస్కరణాత్మక పాలనలో నిరంతరం ముందంజలో నిలిచి ఉంది అధ్యక్ష. అలాగే ప్రధానమంత్రి నరేంద్ర మోడీ గారి యొక్క నాయకత్వంలోని కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం మరియు రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వాల మధ్య సమన్వయం ఉన్నప్పుడు డబుల్ ఇంజన్ సర్కార్ ప్రజలకు స్పష్టమైన ఫలితాలని అందిస్తుందని చెప్పేసి తెలియజేసుకుంటూ, నాకు ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినటువంటి స్పీకర్ గారికి మరియు నా కర్నూలు పార్లమెంట్ ప్రజలందరి తరఫున ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తూ నా ప్రసంగాన్ని ముగిస్తున్నాను అధ్యక్ష. నమస్కారం అధ్యక్ష.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Sri Anil Desai ji.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, sir. So, Honorable Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman presented the Union Budget 26-27 in this House on auspicious day of Maghi Purnima. Lot of expectations were there from the Indian population, common people, and all alike. The total expenditure estimate of 53.47 lakh crore, that is 7.7% higher than revised estimates of 25-26 that was presented. In this, interest payments account for 26% of the total expenditure, and which is 40% of the revenue receipts. Whereas the total receipts other than borrowings are estimated to be 36.51 lakh crores, which is 7.2 higher than the revised estimates of 25-26. Revenue deficit in 26-27 is targeted at 1.5% of the GDP, which is the same like revised estimate of 25-26. It is unchanged. Fiscal deficit of 26-27 is targeted at 4.3% of the GDP, which is lower than the revised estimates of 4.4 of GDP of 25-26. So as far as debt is concerned, government aims to reduce its outstanding liabilities to around 50% of the GDP by 2031, that is in 5 years. In 26-27, outstanding liabilities are estimated to be around 55.6 of the GDP, 55.6% of the GDP. This budget 26-27 emphasized the need for fiscal consolidation, targeting a reduction of debt to GDP ratio to 50% plus or minus 1%
by year 2030, that is in 5 years, which is now 55.6% of the GDP. So fiscal consolidation is being pursued by cutting total expenditure by 5%, but no significant growth momentum is expected, with only 10.9% of the growth in capital expenditure in terms of GDP. There is no corresponding increase in capital expenditure. So there is marginal increase in union government revenue expenditure, which shows at 39.44 lakh from 25-26 revised estimate to 41.25 lakh crores in 26-27. That is a growth of around 4.5%. There is only a marginal increase in transfer towards centrally sponsored schemes, rising from 5.42 lakh crore in 25-26 to 5.49 lakh crore in 26-27. That is just an increase of 1.28%. So it is to be noted that Finance Commission grants have declined from 1.32 lakh crore in 25-26 budget estimates to 1.29 lakh crore in 26-27 budget estimates. So as far as revenue receipts are concerned, only marginal increase.
में हम खो जाए इस फ्रेशनेस में, आओ कॉलेज की सिल्क में हम खो जाए इस फ्रेशनेस में, आओ कॉलेज की सिल्क में हम खो जाए इस फ्रेशनेस में.
Yeah, I would request Honorable Finance Minister to shed some light on this aspect, because we would like to know how the compensation stands and what is the future course of it. The share of the states has fallen from 14.22 lakh crore in 25-26 to 14.22 lakh crore in 25-26 to 13.93 in 25-26 RA, which is decline of minus 2.07 for year 26-27. The estimated tax share to states in rupees 15.26 lakh crore, which is only 7.3 higher than the previous year. Even after considering the 16th Finance Commission tax devolution, the centre's tax share to states amounts to 34.65 instead of, which is mandated, of 41%. 16th Finance Commission recommended state share in divisible pool at its present level of 41%. For horizontal devolution, there is a change in the criteria and weights from 15th Finance Commission. The major change is the criteria inclusion of contribution to GDP, that is 10% weightage is given, and demographic performance by each state. With regard to revenue deficit grants, the 16th Finance Commission has not recommended that the same be granted to the states. When states fall of revenue deficit, they try to get revenue deficit from something from the center to carry on with their projects like development or wherever it is needed. But this time around, Finance Commission has regretted, it has negatived the recommendation, which will put the stress on the states, because states are not able to generate any kind of significant revenue, as GST has already subsumed all taxes and there are hardly any avenues left for the center to generate revenue of its kind. My state of Maharashtra contributes the maximum to the central exchequer. In recent years, we've seen, sir, that we've been contributing more than 5 lakh crore, 5 to 5.5 lakh crore to the central exchequer, but what we get in return is hardly around 3 lakh crore. Though Maharashtra CM Sri Fadnavis has said, and he has praised the entire budget, substantiating the facts that around 1 lakh crore will come to the state of Maharashtra, out of which 98,000 crores will be in the form of devolution or the tax returns what we'll be getting by a week, and 12,000 crores for various projects which are there in Maharashtra, which have come up, that 26-27 allocations have been made for different projects. Now, Maharashtra is expected to receive close to ₹1 lakh. But the basic thing, if we go by the budget, whatever has been stated by the CM and whatever has been praised, I mean, the reality is far from what the picture exists on the ground. The projects which have been funded or projects which have been allocated, good amount of, as far as infrastructure is concerned or urban projects are urban development projects are concerned, the projects which have been there in the pipeline, projects which have been initiated and which are in progress, they have been exorbitantly cost escalation has taken place. The overvaluation is being done, and it is favoring the contractors, which comes from to the government, and it gives suspicion for a lie or for suspicion to raise our doubts as far as corruption is concerned in Maharashtra. So whatever projects which are there, Mumbai-Aurangabad high-speed rail, that is 6,103 crore has been provided for that corridor. Mumbai metro projects, 1,702 crore has been provided for that. Mumbai urban transport project, MUTP3, 462 crores have been allocated. Now green mobility projects in MMR region, that is Mumbai metropolitan region, 155 crores have been allocated. Intelligent transport system ITS on Samriddhi Mahamarga, that is 680 crores. Now these are, and Pune Metro Rail project, that is 517 crores. These projects which ought to have been completed by now, but it is not yet completed. That escalation is on, overvaluation is being done, and this non-completion is not only proving inconvenient to the people, but it comes as a hindrance in the progress of Maharashtra. And who is benefiting out of it? Only contractors are benefiting out of it, and that is in connivance with the government officials or the politicians who are there and the treasury benches of Maharashtra. So these are the things, I mean, not leveling the charges, but this is what is seen by the people, felt by the people, and people feel that progressive state like Maharashtra, why it is taken backseat. Now, sir, finance and economy is concerned, as far as this budget is concerned, high-level committee on banking for Vikasit Bharat it has been proposed. Now, banking sector, that is the backbone of Indian economy. Now, this public sector, which had the strength, yesterday only or today only in the papers it has come, that State Bank of India has registered a 31,000 crore profit in the last quarter. So that is the strength and that is the capacity potential what our public sector banks, insurance or whatever public sector units are there. Instead of strengthening them, the government steps are going in the direction of weakening them. Why are we going for disinvestment? Why are we coming with the disinvestment plan? Every year we present the budget. Last year's, I think 75 to 80,000 crores were meant to be recovered in the revenue was to be received by way of disinvestment. But what has happened? Not even 40,000 crores came our way. And today, banks like IDBI, which is just, IDBI employees are worried that why it is being taught or why it is being put on the panel that it will be privatized. Private banks are not going for the people, they are not going for the employment, they are not going to help you. Now in the banks, instead of having where the potential is so large, when you have good profits, banks which were shouldering the responsibility of addressing the unemployment issue in the country, now they are not, because government has tied their hands. Whenever we talk to management, they are saying we are not getting clearance from the finance ministry. So if this be the case, where would the people go? When we call that brain drain is happening day in, day out from India, where the youth would go if they are not finding, despite having good qualifications, they are not having any chances to get employment into banks or public sector, this thing where they would make their future. If that is so, they have no alternative but to leave the country. And this is a sad situation when we talk of creating employment. On one side, wherever employment opportunity capacity is there, employment is not given. Even this is happening in case of insurance companies also. Insurance companies who were doubted that one day all three general insurance companies were to be made one, or they were to be by way of disinvestment, they were to be decided. But now that their solvency ratio and everything which has come up with the employees' hard work, now the government's stance is, fortunately it has changed. But these are the things which we need to look. labor and employment, what has happened to the labor code? Labor code has given, enough of opportunity, or it is one lopsided labor code has been developed, which is benefiting the employers, and there is absolutely no say for the employee, no say for the labor. Today, what is the situation? When we have started saying that gig economy, why?
टिंग टिंग, अम्मा मैसेज। मैं आपके मौसा के चाचा का नाती का पोता, शादी का कार्ड मैसेज में भेजा है, डाउनलोड करिए और आशीर्वाद दीजिए।
मैं तो आपको जानती भी नहीं, फिर भी शादी का कार्ड खोलूं? मैं मूर्ख नहीं हूँ।
क्या बात है अम्मा। यूपीआई कहता है अगर कोई अनजान नंबर से फाइल या लिंक भेजे तो क्लिक मत करो और कहो मैं मूर्ख नहीं। जाइए आप भी किसी का टेस्ट लीजिए।
Wrong. Government needs to think over this and really think for the youth of the people. Now skill training, lot many things are coming up, but where the things are going. So 2 minutes. Education. Now government with the new national education, new education policy, it has a lot of flaws. What about the teachers? What about the students? There's a wide gap between urban and rural teaching, rural institutions, where you don't get teachers. And teachers also are facing that problem is not yet addressed, that TET, teacher education eligibility test. Those who joined as a teacher long back when this law wasn't there, even they are made to appear for that TET, teachers education test. So this flaw should be removed so that a society is built, because teachers we look up to, that they educate the society. So as far as health is concerned, whatever provisions and allocations are there, they are not up to 2.5% as declared by the government, not provision of 2.5% to the GDP. Now, what is the situation in the state, my state of Maharashtra? If you see the plight of the government hospitals, no one would dare to hold, no doctors, there is no medicine, patients are lying there are no beds for patients to accommodate on the beds, they are lying on the corridors. And this kind of things which is happening not only in rural areas in the city like Mumbai also.
Now please try to conclude.
Once again. And agriculture, we are giving a 10,000 crore credit line. Everything is spelled out. Everything is there on the paper. But what is the reality? The suicides which are becoming suicides has become a pattern. By the day, its numbers are increasing in the state of Maharashtra. What is happening? Why it is happening? Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, really is it working? It is on the paper. Why, when a farmer is paid a claim of ₹3 and 6, you can imagine how that working is, what the formula is, who is formulated that, and what is the agency is doing, what are the people doing. And a poor farmer his dreams are finished. He has nothing to look up to. And they are finishing their lives because there is nothing, no tomorrow for them. So last but not the least, the main is Manrega. Now it is renamed as BBG Ramji. But what is the basic character of this scheme itself is changed. Now it is the government, if needed, the central government was funding 90% of it, 100% of it. But now if it is needed by the state would request the guarantee of days. We've shown that it is 100 days, it is extended from 100 to 125 days. What is the use of it? You have changed the character, killing the Manrega, killing the poor labor in the country.
Yes,
and
thank you.
To conclude, I'm just concluding. I would say that when we think that robots and AIs will be the future of tomorrow, Viksit Bharat, but see, government should ensure that people who are living human beings in India, they are taken care of before the AIs rule over. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Sri Glesur Committee. Please. Glesur Committee.
ये वर्ष 2026-27 के आम बजट पर चर्चा में भाग लेने का अवसर दिया, इसके लिए आपका बहुत आभार प्रकट करता हूं। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी एवं बिहार के लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री श्री नीतीश कुमार जी को हार्दिक बधाई एवं धन्यवाद देता हूं कि उनकी अगुवाई में एनडीए ने बिहार विधानसभा चुनाव 2025 में ऐतिहासिक विजय प्राप्त कर प्रचंड बहुमत से सरकार बनाने का काम किया। महोदय, समावेशी विकास का यह आम बजट वाकई में राष्ट्रहित और जनहित के लिए अमृत एवं संजीवनी के रूप में कार्य करेगी। महोदय, भारत के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के दूरदर्शी एवं प्रगतिशील आर्थिक नीतियां एवं योजनाओं जो समाज के अंतिम व्यक्ति के साथ सभी वर्गों को समानांतर एवं सार्थक लाभान्वित करती है। इसके लिए मैं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का एवं माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी का हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। महोदय, यह बजट भारत के किसानों, युवाओं एवं महिलाओं तथा सभी वर्गों के उत्थान तथा विकास के लिए है, किंतु हमारे साथी को यह सब दिखाई नहीं पड़ता है। न जाने उन्हें यह क्यों नहीं दिखाई पड़ता है, उनके चश्मे में इस तरह दिखाई क्यों नहीं पड़ रहा है। महोदय, रोजगार, कौशल प्रशिक्षण और अन्य अवसरों की सुविधा उपलब्ध कराने के लिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की योजनाएं जो विकसित भारत बनाने में एक महत्वपूर्ण कदम है। महोदय, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किसान भाइयों के लिए कृषि में उत्पादकता और अनुकूलनीयता को प्राथमिकता देते हुए परिवर्तनकारी राष्ट्रीय सहकारिता नीति जैसी योजनाओं को कार्यान्वित किया है। महोदय, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भारत के युवाओं के भविष्य को उज्जवल बनाने के लिए रोजगार और प्रशिक्षण को प्राथमिकता देते हुए रोजगार पाने वाले विनिर्माण क्षेत्र में रोजगार सृजन एवं नियोक्ताओं की सहायता जैसी योजनाएं शामिल किया है। महोदय, भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था की विकास यात्रा को विकसित भारत के लक्ष्य प्राप्त करने के लिए समावेशिता के मार्गदर्शन प्रेरणा से ईंधन के रूप में हमारे सुधार का उपयोग कर कृषि, एमएसए, एमबी, निवेश और निर्यात जैसी 4 शक्तियां इंजन गति प्रदान कर रही है। यह बजट कृषि क्षेत्र समावेशी, संतुलित, उच्चतर समृद्धि और उत्पादकता की ओर अग्रसर है। युवाओं का सशक्तिकरण हमारी समृद्धि युवाओं को पर्याप्त रूप से साधन संपन्न करने और सशक्त बनाने पर निर्भर करती है। एनडीए की सरकार ने विकास के प्रति मानवोचित और समावेशी दृष्टिकोण अपनाया, जो पिछले 11 वर्षों में इन विकास कार्यक्रमों ने रिकॉर्ड समय में सभी के लिए आवास, हर घर जल, सभी के लिए बिजली, सभी के लिए रसोई गैस, सभी के लिए बैंक खाते और वित्तीय सेवाओं के माध्यम से प्रत्येक परिवार और व्यक्ति के लिए सेवाएं सुलभ कराई है। वहीं करोड़ लोगों को मुफ्त राशन उपलब्ध कराकर गरीबी की चिंता समाप्त कर दी है और रोजगार का सृजन हुआ है। साथ ही सरकार सर्वांगीण, सर्वस्पर्शी और सर्वसमावेशी विकास के दृष्टिकोण से कार्य कर रही है। इसमें सभी जातियों और सभी स्तरों के लोग शामिल हैं। हम 2047 तक भारत को विकसित भारत बनाने के लिए कार्य कर रहे हैं। इस लक्ष्य को प्राप्त करने के लिए हमें लोगों की क्षमता में वृद्धि करनी होगी और उन्हें सशक्त बनाना होगा। गरीब महिलाएं, युवा और अन्नदाता, उनकी आवश्यकताएं, उनकी आकांक्षाएं और उनका कल्याण हमारी सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता है। देश की प्रगति होती है जब वे प्रगति करते हैं। महोदय, मैं अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र सुपौल सहित बिहार के सभी किसान भाइयों के हित से संबंधित मुख्य अति आवश्यक मांगों के लिए आग्रह करता हूँ। वर्ष 2008 के प्रलयकारी बाढ़ की तबाही के बाद कोसी क्षेत्र के किसान भाइयों ने बहुत ही कष्ट सहन कर मखाना के साथ मक्का एवं जूट की खेती करना शुरू किया। मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि आपके द्वारा मखान बोर्ड की स्थापना की गई है। महोदय, मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र सुपौल के साथ बिहार के सीमावर्ती कोसी एवं मिथिला क्षेत्र में देश के कोने कोने से मखाना के साथ मक्का एवं जूट की खरीदारी हेतु व्यापारियों का आना जाना लगा रहता है, जिसके लिए बड़े स्तर पर व्यापार केंद्र अति आवश्यक है।
चूज कोटा गेट 11 अकाउंट खोलना 3 मिनट, मक्खन, एफडी, लोन्स, डेबिट कार्ड, क्रेडिट कार्ड, सब स्मूथ लाइक कोटा 811 डिजिटल बैंकिंग, एफडीज, लोन्स, कार्ड्स, म्यूचुअल फंड्स, सब मक्खन।
Get a metal debit card with Kotak 811.
जिससे किसानों एवं व्यापारियों के लिए मूलभूत सुविधाएं प्राप्त हो सके। महोदय, मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र सुपौल एवं बिहार के कोसी मिथिला वासियों के लिए एक केंद्रीय कृषि अनुसंधान महाविद्यालय की स्थापना जनहित में अत्यंत ही आवश्यक एवं उपेक्षित है, जिसमें कृषि एवं किसान कल्याण संबंधी सभी विषयों का पठन पाठन हो सके। आग्रह है कि मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र सुपौल में केंद्रीय कृषि अनुसंधान महाविद्यालय की स्थापना की जाए। रेलवे बनी बिहार के विकास की धुरी है। 2019 से 2014 रेलवे बजट में औसतम 1132 करोड़ बजट था, जबकि 2026-27 में रेलवे बजट बढ़कर 10,370 करोड़ हुआ। बढ़ा हुआ बजट सीधे सीधे परियोजनाओं, रोजगार और बेहतर सेवाओं में तब्दील होता दिख रहा है, जिसका सीधे लाभ बिहार को मिल रहा है। महोदय, अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र सुपौल में रेलवे संबंधी मुख्य अति आवश्यक समस्याओं का समाधान के लिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी एवं माननीय रेल मंत्री से आग्रह करता हूं कि पूर्व मध्य रेलवे अंतर्गत सीतामढ़ी जयनगर भाया निर्मली तथा ललितग्राम वीरपुर नई रेल लाइन परियोजना का शिलान्यास कर यथाशीघ्र निर्माण कार्य शुभारंभ कर तथा रेल परिचालन करने की कृपा की जाए। गाड़ी संख्या 15949 और 15950 डिब्रूगढ़ गोमती नगर अमृत भारत एक्सप्रेस का परिचालन गलगलिया अररिया रेलखंड होकर फारबिसगंज सरायगढ़ दरभंगा के रास्ते करने की कृपा की जाए। डिब्रूगढ़ से नई दिल्ली भाया कटिहार, बरौनी एवं भाया कटिहार हाजीपुर होकर 3 राजधानी ट्रेन का परिचालन किया जाता है। उन तीनों में से किसी एक राजधानी ट्रेन को नवनिर्मित गलगलिया अररिया रेलखंड होते हुए फारबिसगंज राघोपुर तथा दरभंगा के रूट से परिचालन करने की कृपा की जाए, जिससे बंगाल, बिहार तथा उत्तर प्रदेश के सीमावर्ती क्षेत्रों की जनता को इसका लाभ मिल सके तथा समय एवं दूरी भी कम होगी। छात्रों, युवाओं, किसानों, व्यापारियों तथा शिक्षा, स्वास्थ्य, बाजार, कोर्ट कचहरी की सुविधा के लिए पूर्व मध्य रेलवे के त्रिवेणीगंज से पटना भाया सरायगढ़ दरभंगा होते एक मेल एक्सप्रेस ट्रेन का परिचालन रात्रि में दोनों तरफ से किया जाए। साथ ही सुपौल से सियालदह कलकत्ता के लिए एक नई ट्रेन चलाई जाए, जिसे क्षेत्र के व्यापारियों तथा उस क्षेत्र के सीमावर्ती क्षेत्र के जनता को इसका लाभ मिल सके। बिहार राज्य के सुपौल जिला अंतर्गत NH 387 सुपौल से बरिया मंच होते हुए भाया मरौना एवं मधेपुर होते हुए दरभंगा तक सड़क एवं उप सड़क के मध्य कोसी नदी में पुल का निर्माण करने की कृपा की जाए। अध्यक्ष महोदय, विकसित भारत के निर्माण के लिए देश के गरीब, युवा, नारी शक्ति और किसान सशक्त होंगे। सरकार इसके प्रति वचनबद्ध है। इन्हीं शुभकामनाओं के साथ मैं 2026-27 के आम बजट का समर्थन करते हुए बिहार के समस्त जनता एवं जनता दल यूनाइटेड की तरफ से धन्यवाद एवं आभार प्रकट करता हूं। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद। श्री बजरंग सोनेवानी जी।
मुझे आपने बोलने का मौका दे दिया। मैं एनसीपी शरद पवार पार्टी से हूँ। आदरणीय शरद पवार साहब से कृपा से मैं ये सभागृह में हूँ। मुझे बहुत खेदजनक बात ये बजट पे बात करते टाइम पे बोलना है कि महाराष्ट्र के वित्त मंत्री ये डेप्यूटी सीएम थे, उनका निधन 14 दिन पहले हो गया। ये सभागृह में सदस्य थे। पहले मैं उनको भावपूर्ण श्रद्धांजलि अर्पण करता हूँ। और माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, मैं सन 2026-27 या अर्थसंकल्पावर बोलण्याची संधी दिल्याबद्दल आपले मनपूर्वक आभारी आहे। महोदय, या वेळच्या अर्थसंकल्पामध्ये सरकारचा कोणता स्पष्ट दृष्टिकोन, ठोस धोरण किंवा देशवासियांसाठी काहीतरी करण्याची ठाम इच्छाशक्ती दिसून येत नाही। हा अर्थसंकल्प घाईघाईत कोणताही सखोल विचार न करता जमिनीवरील वास्तव्यानं समजून तयार करण्यात आलेला नाही। नेहमीप्रमाणे यालाही अर्थसंकल्पना म्हणता सरकारचा आणखी एक जुमला बजेट म्हणणे अधिक योग्य होईल। महोदय, मी या सभागृहापुढे काही महत्त्वाचे मुद्दे मांडू इच्छितो। मागील अर्थसंकल्पात मांडलेले मुद्दे यावेळेस केवळ रंगरंगटी करून नव्या स्वरूपात पुन्हा सादर करण्यात आलेले आहेत। महोदय, माननीय अर्थमंत्री महोदयांनी सुधार एक्सप्रेस या संकल्पनेची मोठ्या गाजावाजात घोषणा केली।
आणि सरकारने 350हून अधिक सुधारणा केल्याचे सांगितले. मात्र 350 सुधारणा नेमक्या कोणत्या याचा तपशील देण्यात आलेला नाही. जीएसटी सोडल्यास कोणताही ठोस सुधारणा झाली हे स्पष्ट होत नाही. जीएसटी सारखा विषय गोरगरिबांना लुटण्याचा विषय जीएसटी मध्ये होतो. जीएसटी मध्ये बरेच काही बदल केले, हे बदल सुद्धा चुकीच्या पद्धतीने आहेत असं माझं मत आहे. महोदय, जीएसटी बाबत सांगायचे झाले तर हा कर घाईघाईत रात्री 12 वाजता
महाशिवरात्रि 2026 में आपका स्वागत है. इस महाशिवरात्रि की रात शिव के साथ रहे.
सरकार नुकसान भरपाई देणार आहे का? महोदय, एमएसएमई क्षेत्रासाठी दरवर्षी आश्वासने दिली जातात, पण वास्तव्य असे आहे की काही सरकारच्या काळात लघु मध्यम उद्योग दिवसेंदिवस अडचणीत सापडत आहेत. अनेक छोट्या उद्योग बंद पडण्याच्या मार्गावर आहेत. त्यांना वाचवण्यासाठी सरकारकडे कोणते स्पष्ट धोरण नाही. सरकार याच्यासाठी कुठलीही पावले उचलत नाही. त्याच्यामुळे उद्योजक अडचणीत येत आहेत. आपल्या देशातील उद्योजक सक्षम आहेत, पण सरकारच्या चुकीच्या धोरणामुळे ते आज अडचणीत सापडलेले आहेत. उत्पादन क्षमता असूनही बाजार व्यवस्थेसाठी ठोस धोरण नसल्यामुळे देशाची उत्पादकता कमी होत आहे आणि परिणाम भारत हा फक्त एक मोठा उपभोक्ता देश होत आहे आणि याचा फायदा परदेशी देश घेत आहेत. हीच सरकारची नीती आणि नियत म्हणावी लागेल. माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, सरकारने बरेच काही धोरण राबवले. मागच्या काळामध्ये सरकारने या देशामध्ये साखर उद्योगासाठी इथेनॉल प्रोजेक्ट उभारण्यासाठी इंटरेस्ट सबमिशन स्कीम राबवली आणली. इंटरेस्ट सबमिशन या नावाखाली करोडो रुपयाचे प्रोजेक्ट उद्योजकांनी उभे केले, साखर कारखानदारांनी उभे केले आणि त्याचा परिणाम काय झाला तर मागच्या 2 वर्षापूर्वी 7 डिसेंबर 2023 ला रातोरात एक 2 वळीचं पत्र काढलं आणि सांगितलं इथेनॉल प्रोडक्शन बंद करा. माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, आपके माध्यम से मैं अर्थ मंत्री जी के कहना चाहता हूं कि अध्यक्ष अर्थ मंत्री जी ने ये करने से जो उद्योजक है उनका कितना घाटा हो गया, ये कभी सभागृह को बोलना चाहिए, देशवासियों को बोलना चाहिए. परिणाम क्या हो गया तो ये देश के जो किसान है, किसान का जो माल पैसा मिलने वाला था, किसान का पैसा उनको कम मिल गया क्योंकि ये रातों रात बंद कर दिया. ये बहुत बड़ी बात है. इथेनॉल प्रोजेक्ट 200, 400, 500 करोडचे उभे केले आणि 500 करोडचे इथेनॉल प्रोजेक्ट उभे केले तर त्याचा इंटरेस्ट सबमिशनची जी स्कीम आहे त्याच्या ती बंद तर झालीच, पण त्यांचं जे इंटरेस्ट सबमिशनचं जे पैसे आहेत जे सरकारनं वाटायची हमी दिली 2-2, 3-3 वर्ष त्यांचे पैसे मिळत नाहीत. ही सरकारची नियत उद्योजक संपवायची आहे असं माझं मत आहे. त्याच्यामुळे सरकारने त्याच्यावर सुद्धा काहीतरी ठोस पाऊल उचलला पाहिजे. एवढंच नाही तर किसान जे ऊसाचे शेतकरी आहेत, ऊस उत्पादक शेतकऱ्यांसाठी साखरला एमएसपी लागू करायची. दरवर्षी एफआरपी वाढली जाते पण एमएसपी वाढत नाहीये. जर एफआरपी तुम्ही दरवर्षी वाढवता खूप आनंदाची गोष्ट की शेतकऱ्याला एफआरपी पण पैसा मिळाला पाहिजे, पण साखरेची एमएसपी कोण वाढवणार? सरकारला आपल्या माध्यमातून मी एवढीच विनंती करणार आहे की तुम्ही एमएसपी पण वाढवा. आज या कृषी प्रधान देशामध्ये ऊसाची शेती असो, आलूची शेती असो, गव्हाची शेती असो, बटाटा असो, सगळ्या शेतकऱ्यांना एमएसपी दिली पाहिजे. ही काळाची गरज आहे, पण हे सरकार एमएसपी देत नाही. ही दुर्दैव आहे. आणि सरकारने सांगितलं कृषी प्रधान देशामध्ये की आम्ही शेतकऱ्यांचं उत्पन्न दुप्पट करू, पण शेतकऱ्याचं उत्पन्न दुप्पट न होता निमपटीवर येत आहे. याच्यासाठी सरकारनं ठोस निर्णय घेतला पाहिजे अशी माझी सरकारला विनंती. महोदय, या अर्थसंकल्पात व्यापाऱ्यांना पुन्हा कर्ज घेण्याचा सल्ला देण्यात आला. याचा अर्थ सरकारला प्रत्येक व्यापारी कायम कर्जाच्या ओझ्याखाली राहावा असं वाटतंय. महोदय, बनारस पाटणा येथे जलमार्गावरील जहाज दुरुस्ती कारखान्याची घोषणा करण्यात आली. मात्र नद्यामधील पाण्याची पातळी कमी असल्याने हे जलमार्ग प्रकल्प आधीच अपयशी ठरत असताना अशा घोषणा कितपत व्यावहारिक आहेत, यात हाच प्रश्न मला पडतो. महोदय, आरोग्य क्षेत्रावर बोलताना आरोग्य क्षेत्राबाबत मोठमोठ्या घोषणा केल्या जातात, पण आज ही देशातील अनेक रुग्णालयामध्ये पुरेसे डॉक्टर नाहीत, नर्सेस नाहीत, कर्मचारी नाहीत आणि आवश्यक उपकरणाची कमतरता आहे. विद्यमान आरोग्य पायाभूत सुविधाकडे सरकारचे लक्ष आहे असं वाटत नाही. कारण माझ्याच मतदारसंघातील बीड जिल्ह्यातील अंबाजोगाई येथे स्वामी रामानंद तीर्थ ग्रामीण रुग्णालय वैद्यकीय महाविद्यालय हे 5 ते 6 जिल्ह्यांमध्ये एकमेव आधार आहे. दररोज इथं 2,500 ते 3,000 रुग्ण ओपीडी साठी येतात, पण तिथे आजही डॉक्टर, स्टाफ, नर्सर, कर्मचारी यांची आवश्यकता असून व उपकरणे तीव्र कमतरता आहे. त्याच्यामुळे सरकारने नवीन घोषणा करण्याऐवजी आधी उपलब्ध असणाऱ्या पायाभूत सुविधा सक्षम कराव्यात अशी मागणी मी या सभागृहाच्या माध्यमातून माननीय अर्थमंत्र्यांच्या माध्यमातून सरकारला विनंती करतो की माझ्याकडं हे जे माझ्या जिल्ह्यामधलं रुग्णालय, या वैद्यकीय महाविद्यालयामध्ये ज्या पूर्वी 50 विद्यार्थ्यांचा स्टाफ होता त्याची मर्यादा वाढवली, 50 चे 100 केले, 100 चे 150 झाले, पण स्टाफ मात्र जे नर्सेस डॉक्टर्स जे आहेत ते फक्त 50 प्रमाण आहेत. आज 150 संख्या जर झाली असली विद्यार्थ्यांची आणि ओपीडी पहिली जिथं 500 होती तिथं आता 5,000 ओपीडी झाली, पण तिथला तुमचा जो स्टाफ आहे ते वाढत नाही. त्याच्यामुळे औषधाची कमतरता आहे. त्या समितीचा अध्यक्ष पण मी जिल्ह्यात आहे, पण त्या समितीचा अध्यक्ष असताना सुद्धा मला तिथं सांगितलं जातं की औषधं नाहीत. याच्यासाठी सुद्धा सरकारनं गांभीर्यानं बघितलं पाहिजे असं मी सरकारला विनंती करतो. या अर्थसंकल्पातील सर्वात हास्यास्पद बाब म्हणजे शहरी आर्थिक क्षेत्र क्रमांक 41 तब्बल 11 वर्षांनंतर सरकारला टियर 2 व टियर 3 शहरी देशाच्या प्रगतीत योगदान देऊ शकतात हे कळले. याचा अर्थ गेली 11 वर्ष नागरिकांना शहरी नागरिकांना दुय्यम दर्जाची वागणूक देण्यात आली, हीच सरकारची अप्रत्यक्ष कबुली आहे. महोदय, माझा जिल्हा तसा विचार केला किंवा मी ज्या जिल्ह्यातून येतो तो जिल्हा ग्रामीण भागात आहे. महोदय, माझ्याकडे माझी जी ओळख आहे की किसान का बेटा बोल के मेरी पहचान है, इसलिए मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं सर की शेतकऱ्यांना न्याय मिळाला पाहिजे. कृषी प्रधान देशामधल्या माझ्या शेतकऱ्यांना न्याय मिळाला पाहिजे ही माझी मागणी. काजू आणि चंदन अशा सर्व चर्चेला उल्लेख अर्थसंकल्पात करण्यात आला. काजू हा सर्वसामान्यांच्या आवाक्याबाहेर आहे आणि चंदन उत्पादक दक्षिण भारतातील शेतकरी आपल्या मालाच्या विक्रीसाठी त्रस्त आहेत. ही किती लाजिरवाणी घटना आहे की आपल्याला जे तुम्ही लावायला सांगताय, प्रोत्साहन देताय आणि परत पुन्हा माल विक्रीला तुम्ही चालना देत नाही किंवा माल घेत नाही, हे अत्यंत खेदजनक बाब आहे. माननीय महोदय, माझा जिल्हा ग्रामीण आहे, माझ्या मतदारसंघ ग्रामीण भागाचा येतो. ग्रामीण भागाच्या त्याच्यासाठी आपण जर विचार करायचा झाला तर आमच्याकडे आमचे महाराष्ट्राचे मुख्यमंत्री महोदयांनी 14 ते 19 या काळामध्ये सरकार होतं त्यांचं, त्यावेळेस त्यांनी वॉटर ग्रेड ही योजना मी माझ्या बीड जिल्ह्यासाठी आणेल अशी एक घोषणा केली. पण आज तब्बल 11 वर्ष झालं तरी पण काहीही नाही. माझ्या या जिल्ह्यासाठी वॉटर ग्रेड नाही, पण आहे त्या प्रोजेक्ट मधून पाणी द्या. गावोगाव ते पाणी आलं पाहिजे. माझं उजनी धरणातलं पाणी आमच्या मांजरा धरणात आलं पाहिजे, मांजरा धरणाचं पाणी जिल्ह्यात फिरलं पाहिजे. याच्यासाठी लागणारा निधी माननीय अर्थमंत्र्यांनी या बजेटमध्ये माझ्या जिल्ह्याला द्यावा ही माझी विनंती आहे. महाराज अध्यक्ष महोदय, लखपती दीदी योजना केवळ निवडणुकी पुरती केंद्रीय घोषणा ठरली आहे. देशातील महिलांच्या सुरक्षेचा प्रश्न मात्र अजूनही त्यासाठी सरकारचं कोणतंही ठोस पाऊल नाहीये, कुठलं धोरण नाही. महिलांसाठी अन्याय, महिलांसाठी अत्याचार, दर दिवस रेप्स एवढे प्रकार घडतात, सरकार त्यांना कुठं ठोस असा निर्णय घेऊन त्यांना संरक्षण देत नाही. महोदय, एवढेच नाही तर सरकारच्या बऱ्याच योजना आहेत. आता अर्थमंत्री गेलेत, मला त्यांना विचारायचं आपल्या माध्यमातून की सरकारची PMJSY म्हणजे ग्रामीण विकास या अर्थसंकल्पात प्रचंड कमतरता आहे. सर 2 मिनिट में कंक्लूड करता हूं प्लीज. PMJSY नावाची योजना जी सरकारची आहे, या PMJSY योजनेचा टप्पा 3 एकाही कामाला मंजुरी नाहीये. आज 2 वर्ष
ये जो जादू सा सीखा है हमने अभी, सीखेंगे तेरे लिए.
हम जो गए थे सबक फिर वही
टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में, मेरे अर्थ संकल्प है, इसमें मेरा जो जिला है, जिले के अंदर सर
प्लीज
2 मिनट सर, प्लीज 2 मिनट। मैं जो मेरे 400 गांव खेड़े हैं, वहां अभी भी BSNL का टावर नहीं है और दूसरे कौन से के कंपनी का टावर नहीं। मैं सरकार से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि मेरे जिले के अंदर वो देना चाहिए। रेल के बारे में बहुत जिक्र किया सर, रेल बुलेट ट्रेन ले लिया, बुलेट ट्रेन 1000 करोड़ 1 लाख करोड़ का बजट 2 लाख करोड़ कर दिया, क्यों? और मेरे इधर कुछ क्या किया है? हमारे महाराष्ट्र के अंदर खाली अर्बन के लिए सरकार चलती है, रूरल के लिए क्यों नहीं है? मेरे जिले के अंदर जो मेरा एक सेकंड, मेरे जिले के अंदर एक ही प्रोजेक्ट की मांग थी मेरी, और सरकार से, अर्थ मंत्री से मेरे रिक्वेस्ट है, मेरा जो धाराशिव से लेके बीड़ से लेकर संभाजीनगर का रेल मार्ग, इसी के लिए कुछ ना कुछ बजट की तरफ होना चाहिए। और ये गरीब के किसान के बेटा के जो मतदार संघ है, उसी के लिए अर्थ मंत्री दे देंगे। सर लास्ट सर, ये अर्थसंकल्प देशाचा, मी लास्ट बोल रहा हूं, शेवटी एवढंच म्हणेन की या अर्थसंकल्पात देशातील जनतेला पूर्णपणे निराश करणारा आहे। जुन्या घोषणाचे मिश्रण करून घाईघाईत तयार करण्यात आलेला आहे अर्थसंकल्प। आम्हाला या गोष्टीतून काहीच मिळणार नाही। मी माझ्या सर एक लफ्ज खाली एक सरकार के लिए
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष महोदय, धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष महोदय। मैं आज आपका धन्यवाद देता हूं, आपने मुझे बजट पे बोलने का मौका दिया है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, तथ्यों के साथ खड़ा हुआ हूं, सुर्खियों के साथ नहीं। सरकार के अपने ऑडिट खाते, बजट, व्यक्तित्वों और संसदीय उत्तरों के साथ जब इन्हें एक साथ पढ़ा जाता है तो एक पैटर्न साफ दिखता है कि घोषणाएं आगे दौड़ती हैं, नतीजे पीछे रह जाते हैं और जवाबदेही सदे हुए शब्दों की ओट में गायब हो जाती है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, यूनियन बजट 2025-26 में आकर समाप्त होते होते हम सरकार ने फ्लैगशिप स्कीमें, बड़ी बड़ी हेडलाइंस एलोकेशन के जरिए बार बार बेचने की कोशिश करी। पिछले कितने बजटों को चेक करेंगे तो हर बार कुछ न कुछ बजट में नया आता है, पर कोई कंपैरेटिव उसका कोई चार्ट नए पार्लियामेंट में कभी पेश हो पाता है कि क्या स्कीमें लॉन्च हुई और उनका आज पब्लिक एट लार्ज में फील्ड में उनका क्या इम्पैक्ट रहा है। लेकिन मैं अपने स्टार्टिंग शुरुआत करनी चाहूंगा पीएम पोषण स्कीम के साथ में। एक भारत सरकार की बेहतरीन प्रोग्राम ना अच्छा है, पोषण को हम इंप्रूव करना चाहते हैं और अच्छा एक जिसका गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के ऑफिशियल अगर आप डैशबोर्ड भी चेक करो तो 21-22 के अंदर इस प्रोजेक्ट के इस स्कीम के लिए जो बजट एस्टीमेट थे वो 11,500 करोड़ पे थे, जबकि एक्चुअल एक्सपेंडिचर 10,000 करोड़ के आसपास ही हुआ। फिर 23-24 में ये 11,600 करोड़ बढ़ा दिया गया, एक्चुअल एक्सपेंडिचर 8,400 करोड़ हुआ। 24-25 में 12,500 करोड़ कर दिया गया, एक्चुअल रिलीज 9,900 करोड़ हुआ। और 25-26 में बजट एस्टीमेट 12,500 करोड़ हुआ और एक्चुअल रिलीज 6,170 करोड़ पे हुआ। सर अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि सरकार स्कीमों के साथ में जब बजट एस्टीमेट अनाउंस करती है, रिवाइज एस्टीमेट होते हैं मिड ऑफ द ईयर के अंदर, वहां आधा दम तोड़ जाता है और जब ये एक्चुअल में लागू होती है तो उनकी हालत और भी दयनीय हो जाती है। और ऐसा ये नहीं कि किसी एक स्कीम के साथ है, अनेकों स्कीम के साथ में है। आज की तारीख में भी जो हम डेटा देते हैं NFHS का जो डेटा देखेंगे तो हमारी कितनी ही बच्चियां आज की तारीख में हम स्कूलों के अंदर आयरन जिंक की टैबलेट्स दे रहे हैं, एनेमिक बच्चियां हैं। और पीएम पोषण प्रोग्राम की रियलिटी ये है कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से बजट भी पूरा अपना स्पेंड नहीं हो पा रहा। ऐसे ही आप देखेंगे अनेकों स्कीमें। अभी स्कूल शिक्षा के बारे में बात करते हैं, समग्र शिक्षा एक अभियान चला, उसके अंदर 31,000 करोड़ पे 21-22 में सैंक्शन किए गए, 30,000 भी खर्च नहीं हुए। 23-24 में 37,400 करोड़ सैंक्शन हुए और वो पैसा आज तक खर्च नहीं हुआ। हालत ये है कि राजस्थान के अंदर हाई कोर्ट के ऊपर एक अपना राजस्थान गवर्नमेंट ने अपना वक्तव्य दिया है कि राजस्थान गवर्नमेंट के अंदर 56% ऑफ स्कूल्स के जो रूम्स हैं वो जर्जर हालत में हैं, अनयूजेबल हैं और मेजर रिपेयर्स मांगते हैं। राजस्थान के अंदर एक स्कूल के अंदर बिल्डिंग गिरने से 7 बच्चों की मृत्यु हुई। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ राजस्थान ने आनंद फानन के अंदर पूरे स्कूल के राजस्थान के स्कूल्स का डेटा कलेक्ट करवाया और डेटा कलेक्ट करने के बाद मालूम पड़ा कि स्कूल के अंदर 2,83,780 रूम तो ऐसे हैं जो जर्जर हालत में है और उनके पास में उनमें कमरों में बैठने की बच्चों की स्थिति नहीं है। और 2,19,000 ऐसे कमरे हैं जिनको मेजर रिपेयर वर्क्स चाहिए। और गवर्नमेंट हाईकोर्ट ने साथ साथ में ये भी कहा और एक रिपोर्ट जो सामने आई कि गर्ल्स राजस्थान के स्कूलों में पानी कम इसलिए पीती हैं क्योंकि राजस्थान में वर्किंग टॉयलेट्स तक नहीं, और समग्र शिक्षा अभियान की हालत यह है कि उसके लिए बजट नहीं। मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी अकेले में 1600 से ऊपर कमरों की रिक्वायरमेंट है सर, पर गवर्नमेंट के पास में कहीं कोई पैसा नहीं। स्टेट सब्जेक्ट, सेंट्रल सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर बात घूमती रह जाती है। ऐसे कितने स्कूल है सर, चूरू लोकसभा क्षेत्र से आता हूं, 50 डिग्री का टेम्परेचर टच करता है, आज भी बच्चे बाहर पेड़ के नीचे पढ़ने को मजबूर हैं, पर सरकार के पास में विकसित भारत के विजन के अंदर बच्चों के लिए कोई विजन नजर नहीं आता कि कैसे ये बच्चे पढ़ेंगे, कैसे ये बच्चों के स्कूल की प्रॉपर रूम्स मिलेंगी। ये हालत समग्र शिक्षा अभियान की है। अभी सरकार ने बहुत अच्छा एक नया अनाउंसमेंट किया है, हर बार अनाउंसमेंट होता है। अभी इस बार के बजट में एवीजीसी कंटेंट क्रिएटर लैब्स खोली जाएंगी, एनिमेटेड विजुअल इफेक्ट्स, गेमिंग और कॉमिक्स की लैब्स खोली जाएंगी, 15,000 लैब्स खोली जाएंगी। बड़ी अच्छी उम्मीद है, पर कहां से इनकी हम ट्रेनर्स कहां से लेके आएंगे, ट्रेनर्स को हम स्किलिंग कैसे देंगे, कैसे इनके इक्विपमेंट्स आएंगे, कौन रख रखाव करेगा। अटल टिंकरिंग लैब्स खुली, आज उनका असेसमेंट कहीं हमारे पास में नहीं है। अनाउंसमेंट के बाद में अनाउंसमेंट है, पर कहीं भी ये चीज समझ में नहीं आता कि कैसे स्कूली शिक्षा के अंदर आगे बढ़े। सर राजस्थान के अंदर हालत तो ये है कि आज की तारीख में मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में 83% स्कूल्स में हम बच्चों को आर्ट्स पढ़ा रहे हैं, मात्र 17% ऑफ स्कूल्स, गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स में सिर्फ साइंस और कॉमर्स है। उन 17% स्कूलों में से 53% स्कूलों के पास में कोई वर्किंग लेबोरेटरीज नहीं है। कौन सा बच्चा डिजिटल एज की हम बात करते हैं, हम एआई टेक्नोलॉजी की बात कर रहे हैं, कैसे बच्चे तैयार होंगे। शिक्षा के प्रति सरकार की इतनी जबरदस्त उदासीनता है जिसके बारे में जितना बोला जाए उतना कम। जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने इस देश के अंदर 1960s में एक स्कूल का कॉन्सेप्ट क्रिएट किया, केंद्रीय विद्यालय, नवोदय विद्यालय। इनकी सक्सेस रेट आज भी 95-97% से ऊपर जाती है, पर इस सरकार की उदासीनता के कारण आप देखो कि पिछले अभी ऑफिशियल डेटा के अनुसार केंद्रीय विद्यालय में और नवोदय विद्यालय में 12,000 से अधिक टेक्निकल पोस्ट वैकेंट पड़ी हुई हैं। बच्चों के एडमिशंस घटते जा रहे हैं, जहां 1,95,000 20-21 के अंदर बच्चे केवी में एडमिशन लेके बैठे हुए थे, आज वो फिगर घटते घटते हमारा 1,39,000 के ऊपर आ गया है। यही हालत हमारे नवोदय स्कूल्स की है। मेरा प्रधानमंत्री कौशल विकास योजना के बारे में बात करी, उनकी स्थिति क्या है? बिल्कुल खत्म होने की पोजीशन के ऊपर सेंटर्स आगे हैं। सिर्फ और सिर्फ न तो कोई एक डेटा के अनुसार 41% बच्चों को, ट्रेन बच्चों को गवर्नमेंट प्लेसमेंट दिला पाई, और प्लेसमेंट होने के बाद में इन बच्चों के साथ में आज की तारीख में सिर्फ ये सर्टिफिकेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का एक प्रोग्राम रह गया है। अनेकों ऐसी समस्या। अभी पीएम इंटर्नशिप की बात कर लीजिए, पिछले बार बहुत हा हुल्ला के साथ में स्कीम लॉन्च करी गई और 10,831 करोड़ रुपए का बजट भी सैंक्शन किया गया, पर रिवाइज एस्टिमेट देखिए 526 करोड़। 10,000 की अनाउंसमेंट के बाद में 526 करोड़ रुपए का ही बजट सैंक्शन हुआ, और इस साल 4788 करोड़ रुपए की बात करी गई है। यही हालत एआई मिशन की है। 2000 का बजट एस्टिमेट, 800 करोड़ रिवाइज एस्टिमेट, इस बार फिर 1000 करोड़। तो शिक्षा के प्रति सरकार की उदासीनता, और मैं ये मानता हूं कि मैं सरकार से निवेदन भी करना चाहूंगा, वित्त मंत्री महोदय बैठी हुई हैं, मैम स्कूल एजुकेशन में हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज राजस्थान जैसे में बहुत
डियर इन्वेस्टर, एक एक्सपर्ट स्टॉक टिप खास आपके लिए। ये ऐप डाउनलोड करो और पैसे डबल करो।
एक्सपर्ट जी, बदमाश का बाप हूं मैं। ऐप डाउनलोड करने से पहले मैं आपका पूरा रिपोर्ट कार्ड निकालूंगा। मैं मूर्ख नहीं हूँ।
डिस्टेंस यूपीआई कहता है, अगर कोई ऐसी सलाह दे तो पहले एडवाइजर की पूरी जांच कर ले और कहे मैं मूर्ख नहीं। जाइए आप भी किसी का टेस्ट लीजिए।
सर वहां पे भी नहीं बोलने दे रहे, यहाँ पे भी नहीं बोलने दे रहे हो, कहीं तो बोलने दो। सर जल जीवन मिशन के बारे में बात चली है, 67,000 करोड़ रुपए का प्रस्ताव बजट एस्टिमेट में था हमारे भी 25-26 के अंदर। रिवाइज एस्टिमेट 17,000 करोड़ रुपए को, इसका मतलब 50,000 करोड़ रुपए का हम जो बजट खर्च नहीं कर पाए या बजट को हमने चेंज करने की कोशिश करी। हालत राजस्थान की ये है कि राजस्थान के अंदर आज भी पीने की पानी की व्यवस्था नहीं। आज मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के अंदर भी राजस्थान में ऐसे कितने ही टेंडर्स हैं जो जल जीवन मिशन के ओपन तक नहीं हो पाए हैं। आज की तारीख में अवार्ड हुए वर्क 2021 के अंदर और उनका डेविएशन आ गया, 500 करोड़ के प्रोजेक्ट में 70 करोड़ रुपए का डेविएशन आ गया और उस डेविएशन के अंदर आज सरकार के पास 2 साल से फाइल पड़ी हुई है, पर सरकार के पास 70 करोड़ रुपए नहीं है। अभी किसान हमारे रतनपुरा के धरने पे बैठे हुए थे और उनको पीने के पानी की सरकार के पास में कोई सिस्टम नहीं। जल जीवन मिशन को बंद करने का काम कर दिया गया है। कहीं सरकार हाथ पे हाथ रख के बैठ गई है, पानी के लिए पैसा देने के पास सरकार के पास कोई विजन नहीं। और ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जहां पे अभी तक उन प्रोजेक्ट्स को सैंक्शनिंग करने के लिए फाइल 2 साल से ऑफिसर्स के पास पड़ी है। निशिकांत जी, आपसे निवेदन करेंगे कि आप भी बोलिए कि जल जीवन मिशन के प्रोजेक्ट को जो 21 से स्टार्ट हुए आज तक कंप्लीट नहीं हो पा रहे। मैं सरकार से प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण सड़क योजना की बात करता हूं। 19,000 करोड़ रुपए का सैंक्शन की थी, 11,000 रुपए बजट एस्टिमेट को रिवाइज करके रिवाइज एस्टिमेट में 11,000 करोड़ रुपए लेके आ गए। आज भी प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामीण सड़क योजना का जो फोर्थ फेज चल रहा है उसमें सिर्फ बचे हुए गांवों की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं रही है मंत्री महोदय। गांव की रिक्वायरमेंट ये रहेगी कि आज पंचायतें इतनी बन गई कि पंचायत से गांव जुड़े कैसे। राजस्थान के अंदर गांवों की, हिंदुस्तान में मैं मानता हूं कि एक गांव से दूसरे गांव, एटलीस्ट अपने गांव से पंचायत हेडक्वार्टर तक जोड़ने का भी प्रावधान होना चाहिए। और जो एग्जिस्टिंग रोड्स पहले बनी हुई थी, जो फेज 3 में थी, जहां पे आप रोड का चौड़ाईकरण कर रहे थे, उन रोड्स को भी शामिल करने की बात करिए। मैं मनरेगा के बारे में बात करूंगा। मनरेगा के अंदर आपने ये बात कही है कि 40% शेयर वीबीजी रामजी बिल के अंदर 40% शेयर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट देगी। अध्यक्ष महोदय, राजस्थान की सरकार ने पिछले साल 4800 करोड़ रुपए नरेगा में खर्च करे। राजस्थान गवर्नमेंट अपने बेसिक डे टू डे एक्सपेंडिचर के लिए लोन लेना पड़ता है। क्या राजस्थान की सरकार 2000 करोड़ अपनी जेब से दे पाएगी? मनरेगा की शुरुआत, खात्मे की शुरुआत हुई है इस नए बिल के साथ में। जो एक आखिरी व्यक्ति गांव में बैठा हुआ था, उसको पीने की, उसको जो काम हो, उसको रोजगार मिलता था, उस रोजगार को छीनने का काम एक सरकार करने जा रही है। मैं जल जीवन मिशन के साथ में सिंचाई के पानी की बात करता हूं। आज की तारीख में भी एक हाल ही में जो रिपोर्ट नहीं आई है, एनवायरमेंट एंड वाटर की एक इंडिपेंडेंट स्टडी के अनुसार इंडिया की ट्रीटेड वाटर, वेस्ट वाटर रेस्क्यू कैपेसिटी अभी बहुत कम है और सिर्फ 10 स्टेट्स के पास फॉर्मल रीयूज पॉलिसी है, जबकि ट्रीटेड वेस्ट वाटर 2050 तक दिल्ली के क्षेत्रफल के 26 गुना के बराबर की क्षेत्र की सिंचाई कर सकता है और वास्तविक आर्थिक मूल्य पैदा कर सकता है। फिर भी इस सदन का कोई नेशनल प्लान नहीं दिखाई गया, न टाइमलाइन, न बजट, न टारगेट्स, ताकि वेस्ट वाटर को भी कैसे रीयूज किया जाए, वाटर स्कैरिसिटी को केंद्रीय स्तंभ बनाया जा सके। क्यों नहीं हम वेस्ट वाटर जो सचमुच बहकर बर्बाद हो रहा है का उपयोग करें? क्यों नहीं कर सकते, जबकि वह खेतों की सिंचाई कर सकता है?
राहुल जी,
I was allotted 10 minutes, sir.
Yeah.
Only 3 minutes, sir.
Already 11 minutes over.
Sir, another 2 minutes, sir. Sir, मेरा सरकार से ये कहना है, हम ईस्टर्न, हमारा जो पानी है, जो आज की तारीख में हरिके बराज से हमारी 3 नदियों का पानी इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर क्रॉस करता है, 2 MAF पानी जिसकी कैपेसिटी 10 से 15 लाख हेक्टेयर जमीन को सिंचित करने की है, उसके ऊपर सरकार की कोई अनाउंसमेंट नहीं है। इरिगेशन के अंदर इरिगेशन के ऊपर अनाउंसमेंट होती, हम एक तरफ 50 लाख टन दलहन और तिलहन विदेशों से इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं और एक तरफ हमने इरिगेशन के लिए कोई भी बजट सैंक्शन नहीं किया है। मेरी सरकार से गुजारिश है कि राजस्थान, नॉर्थ वेस्ट राजस्थान, जहां पे हमारा नागौर, चूरू, झुंझुनू और बाड़मेर, बीकानेर जैसे क्षेत्र जहां पे इतना बड़ा लैंड मास पड़ा हुआ है, अगर इरिगेशन की फैसिलिटी मिलेगी तो उनके बहुत बड़ा उसका फायदा मिलेगा और इरिगेशन के ऊपर गवर्नमेंट का फोकस करना। सर लास्ट 2 पॉइंट करना चाहूंगा सर 2 मिनट सर, मैं वहीं से आ रहा हूं सर जहां से आप बोल रहे हो। राष्ट्रीय राजमार्गों की बात करूंगा सर, नेशनल हाईवे के अंदर हर साल बजट बढ़ रहा है, पर सर हम हमारे स्टेट्स जो हाईवेज हैं उनकी ओवर कैपेसिटी हमारी यूटिलाइजेशन हो रही है, स्ट्रेस बढ़ता जा रहा है। सर डिजाइन जो हाईवे की, सर एक एग्जांपल देता हूं, जयपुर से लेकर किशनगढ़ का हाईवे राजस्थान के अंदर है सर, 50,000 PCU के लिए डिजाइन हाईवे आज 1,26,000 PCU पे वो कर रहा है। आए दिन एक्सीडेंट होते हैं, अभी पिछली बार इलीगल कट्स पे एक्सीडेंट होने पर 200 से ऊपर लोगों की जान गई। सर सरकार के पास में नए हाईवेज के लिए कोई प्लान नजर नहीं आ रहा। राजस्थान को सर इस बजट में राजस्थान का नाम तक भी नहीं लिया गया। सर रेलवेज के लिए कहना चाहूंगा, न्यू रेलवे लाइंस के लिए बजट एस्टिमेट 32,000 करोड़ रुपए का था, 30,000 करोड़ खर्च करे। सर मेरी लोकसभा कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी चूरू के अंदर सर सीकर से नोखा, खाटू श्याम जी से करनी माता वाया मुकाम नोखा बिदासर होते हुए सरदार शहर से नौहर, सरदार शहर से मानगढ़ और साधुपुर तारानगर गजसिंहपुर की रेलवे की लाइन की डिमांड बहुत ज्यादा है। मैम हर बार जब हम सर्वे करवाते हैं आरओआई नेगेटिव आती है। राजस्थान में फ्रेट नहीं है, सो देयर हैज टू बी सम वायबिलिटी गैप फंडिंग।
धन्यवाद राहुल जी।
मैं आखिर में
लास्ट सेंटेंस
सर प्लीज सर आपने बिल्कुल बोलने नहीं दिया सर।
बोल दे भाई, अब आप बोलिए ना।
सर निशिकांत जी हमेशा डिस्टर्ब करते हैं सर, सभी को करते हैं, आप मुझे भी कर रहे हैं सर। डॉक्टर साहब बैठिए, डॉक्टर साहब बैठिए। सर वादों की दुकान सस्ती रही हर साल, पर गरीब की थाली रही खाली की खाली। कागज पर चमकते हजार, कागज पर सपने चमकते हजार, जमीन पर मगर सिसकता परिवार। पिछले बजट के हिसाब नहीं और इस बजट पर विश्वास नहीं। राजस्थान का हिस्सा नहीं तो विकसित भारत सिर्फ एक नारा है और एक नारा ही रहेगा।
धन्यवाद मैडम जी, पुरंदेश्वरी जी।
Thank you, Chair, for giving me the opportunity to participate in this very important discussion on the budget that was presented by the Honorable Finance Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji. Sir, I would first like to begin by congratulating her on her 9th consecutive budget that she had presented in the Parliament. Sir, the budget gives us a clear message about India's long-term priorities, and it also emphatically states, sir, where India intends to position herself in the unfurling global economic scenario. Sir, it also clearly states that the budget intends to balance growth and macro stability. So the challenge before the Honorable Finance Minister, as she was charting out the budget, was that she had to ensure momentum alongside building resilience. Sir, we had a growth of around a GDP of around 7%, inflation being low, and our fiscal deficit in the right direction. This was the momentum that was there in the country, sir, but we needed to build our resilience against the global trade, which was in a flux. Sir, the fiscal deficit of 4.3%, which is marginally lower than the 4.4%, only emphasizes that the focus of the finance minister has been on continuity rather than ambition. So since the pandemic, the slow rate of fiscal deficit reduction, sir, it only highlights that the focus has been on stability rather than dramatic consolidation. With the global uncertainty looming large and also the rupee under pressure, the over populism. Sir, the EU trade or the European Union Free Trade Agreement would most probably come into operation by 2027, and we also have the US tariff uncertainties looming large. Sir, under these circumstances, we need to build our domestic capacities to protect our country from from supply chain disruptions. Sir, against this backdrop, the industrial strategy that has been spelled out in the budget, sir, reveals a resolve to move up the value chain. It could be the 10,000 crore allocation for the Biopharma Shakti initiative, or the 40,000 crore allocation for the electronic component manufacturing, or this India's semiconductor mission 2.0. They together emphasize, sir, that India would want to become Atmanirbhar or self-reliant in these strategic sectors on which India was until now import dependent. So there is also renewed emphasis on service sector, and we know that the contribution of service sector to our GDP is around 55%, and it dominates our exports as well. So common safe harbor margins of 15.5% and the threshold enhancement from 300 to 2,000 crores only emphasizes that India's software they still remain our reliable foreign exchange earners. So the proposed Education to Employment and Enterprise Standing Committee, aiming at 10% of the global service market, underscores this, and the expansion of Ayush and Khelo India mission only reveal the intent of extending or diversifying service exports beyond technology. So there has also been emphasis on rare earth mineral corridors. Today, sir, we are faced with an external environment in which trade as well as multilateralism is in danger, and access to supply chains are being disrupted. Hence, sir, we need to strengthen, if not protect ourselves against these external shocks. Therefore, the manufacturing of rare earth permanent magnets, or REPM, is vital to meet our upstream industries, growing demands of the upstream industries like electronics, electric vehicles, aerospace, defense, and the likes. So the need for securing our supply chain arose when China, the world's largest, if not the only supplier of REPM, curbed its exports, giving rise to global shortage and disrupting industries. So this shock emphasized the need for indigenization. And today, by indigenizing REPM, India could position herself as a global hub of sustainable manufacturing. So the proposed scrapping of custom duty on monazite from the present 2.5% is a welcome measure, because this would only attract more investments in REPM and also improve the employment opportunities for our own children. So the states in which monazite is largely found is Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Jharkhand, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and West Bengal, with Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Orissa contributing 89% of the 12.73 million ton monazite reserves in our country. Sir, I would only request the Honorable Finance Minister here, sir, that we would need to work closely with the states for the single window clearances as well as land subsidies, because this is largely in the control of the states, and this would also hasten and quicken investments into our country in REPM. Alongside, sir, I would also request the Honorable Finance Minister to consider applying PLI or performance-linked incentives for the mining of rare earth minerals, because as the very name states, sir, they are rare earth minerals, and we need our efficacy to improve in mining of rare earth minerals, and also apply PLI to REPMs too. So the budget further, sir, it simplifies customs tariff by rationalizing exemptions and focusing on effective rates. So the ripple effect of this would be that our domestic manufacturing sector would be strengthened and our exports would improve. So customs today are moving towards trust-based, digitally AI-assisted framework, marking a significant stride towards ease of doing business. So the targeted exemptions, sir, and process reforms, they aim at reducing the input costs that would improve certainty for long gestation and capital incentive projects. So manufacturing is a central pillar of Indian economic growth, and its contribution to the GDP is around 16 to 17%. So it is much lower than what many of the other countries, for example, China has. However, sir, the duty-free imports for leather and footwear industry, the extension of export obligation period under the advanced authorization scheme from 6 months to 1 year, the announcement of the scheme to support production of high-value, technologically advanced construction and infra components, and for the MSMEs, the removal of the rupees 10 lakh per consignment cap on courier exports would not only improve our access to foreign markets, but would also strengthen our local manufacturing sector as well. So in the health sector, the customs duty exemption on 17 additional drugs, so this is over and above the exemption that was given for the cancer drugs earlier in her earlier budget, and medicines as well as on key diagnostic components, it only indicates the commitment of the NDA government to the well-being of its citizens. So this reduction in customs duty would provide immediate relief to patients who are suffering with cancer and rare diseases, signaling a policy towards affordable health care. Sir, this is alongside the Ayushman Bharat, the Jan Aushadhi Kendras, which are already in place in our country. Sir, the PLI allocation for the auto sector has been increased, sir, which is a very welcome measure. But I would also appeal to the Honorable FM to reconsider the 45% reduction in the PLI for the lithium-ion cells, sir, because this is rather important. So the exclusive economic zones, or the EEZ, they span about 2.3 million kilometers in the Indian Ocean, and making fish caught in the EEZ duty-free will not only reduce operational costs, sir, but would also recognize the fish catch as Indian catch, and if it lands on other shores, then it would be considered as exports. Many countries, sir, like US and China, they actually follow this route, and this would actually unlock the economic potential of our country's marine resources. So this would also, beyond boosting deep sea fishing, facilitate harvesting high value fish like tuna, marlin, sailfish, and the likes. Presently, sir, Indian fishing vessels, they are not well equipped for long distance operations, and this would actually call for investments in vessels with onboard freezing facilities as well, opening up a sea of opportunity for our fisher folk. So the limit for duty-free imports and specified inputs used for processing seafoods has been increased from 1% to 3%, sir, over the previous year's export turnover. And this would actually ease the pressure on the marine sector by bringing down the cost of production at a time when one of our largest export earners is actually facing a crisis of the high US tariffs, which have now been, of course, reduced. Sir, the budget thrust on high-value farm produce and allied sectors. So this would also help in reducing our import cost dependency, modernize agricultural practices, and also improve farm incomes. So production of coconut oil has reduced drastically in the past 1 decade. So the production of coconuts in the country is around 600.
Choose Kotak 811. Account खोलना 3 minutes. मक्खन. FD loans, debit card, credit card, सब smooth like Kotak 811 digital banking. FDs, loans, cards, mutual funds, सब मक्खन.
Get a metal debit card with Kotak 811.
Coming forward, shouldering the coconut farmers and assuring them that their trees would be replaced by new saplings, sir, is a welcome measure. Sir, export on coconuts have actually risen to 1.88 lakh tons in 2025 as against the 1.76 lakh tons in 2024, which is a 7% hike. Sir, none of us have actually forgotten the success story of Araku coffee. Sir, when it was initiated, there were many people who did not believe that it would succeed. But today, Araku coffee has become a global brand. So, riding on the success of Araku coffee, to emulate it in cashew nuts and coconuts, sir, this would actually reduce our dependency on imports. Sir, exports of coconut and cocoa and related products, sir, they have increased 26%, sir, touching 4.54 lakh tons in 2025, up from 36.86 lakh tons. So therefore, I think this is a very welcome measure. Sandalwood is an integral part of our culture. Therefore, the support that is being given to sandalwood farming as well as post-harvest processing would only help us in restoring the past glory of sandalwood. Alongside this, sir, the AI initiative called the Virtually Integrated System to Access Agricultural Resources of Vistar, sir, would educate the farmers in every detail of agriculture economics, sir. And this is very important for us because 80% of our farmers are small and marginal farmers who have land holdings which are less than 5 acres. Sir. Therefore, this technical assistance would help farmers in innovative practices, thereby enhancing their incomes. So, India's 7.4 million MSMEs, they would stand to benefit from the 10,000 crore SME growth fund that has been allocated. This is over and above the 2,000 crore self-reliant India fund that has already been allocated, sir. and this provides access to risk capital for MSMEs. So MSMEs largely supply to PSUs and other large houses, but payments are quite often delayed, which leads to financial crunch and thereby the ill health of the MSME. Therefore, TREDs are being made mandatory, where the invoice has to be settled via the platform with no excuses, sir, is a big help for the MSMEs. The chronic problem that MSMEs face, which even our economic survey has emphasized, is that their lack of accessibility to capital. Therefore, these initiatives, sir, would surely enhance the proximity to capital for the MSMEs, who are one of the largest employment generators after agriculture. So urbanization is happening at a great speed, and the focus on tier 2 and tier 3 and temple cities, sir, is a welcome measure, because it is here the infrastructure would definitely be upgraded and modernized, making life for migrants who actually come into these cities much better, safer, and they would not have to live in deplorable conditions as they are doing now. So today, recognizing cities and towns as growth hubs is the need of the hour. Therefore, I would surely like to welcome this measure. Sir, having said that, a nation's progress, sir, is impossible without the empowerment of its women. Building on the success of Lakpati Didi, the most important initiative that has been, sir, just 5 minutes, sir, that has been introduced in the budget is the establishment of the self-help entrepreneur marts, or the She Marts, sir, which will provide women entrepreneurs direct market access and business opportunities. In addition, sir, credit-linked support for women-led fisheries and aquaculture enterprises encourages economic independence in coastal and rural regions. So these initiatives are designed to convert small-scale participation into scalable enterprise. Another landmark initiative, sir, in this budget is the establishment of one hostel for girls in every district, especially near the STEM institutions. So this step ensures that talented young women from rural and semi-urban areas would not have to discontinue education for lack of accommodation barriers. So these initiatives collectively strengthen financial inclusion, education access, and entrepreneurial growth for women, converting empowerment into leadership. Beyond economic and educational support, sir, the budget also gives a strong social message that women are partners in nation building and not mere beneficiaries of welfare. Therefore, it is no longer women's development, sir, but it is now, the new story is women-led development. Sir, having said that, I would only like to conclude by saying that the budget has been crafted and presented amidst unique circumstances in an increasingly turbulent world. In such circumstances, sir, this budget is a coherent framework that laid emphasis on financial prudence, infrastructure-led growth, and human development, preparing India for the Viksit Bharat of 2047 in a volatile.
Ding ding, अम्मा मैसेज. मैं आपके मौसा के चाचा का नाती का पोता, शादी का कार्ड मैसेज में भेजा है, डाउनलोड करिए और आशीर्वाद दीजिए.
मैं तो आपको जानती भी नहीं, फिर भी शादी का कार्ड खोलूं? मैं मूर्ख नहीं हूँ.
क्या बात है अम्मा. यूपीआई कहता है अगर कोई अनजान नंबर से फाइल या लिंक भेजे तो क्लिक मत करो और कहो मैं मूर्ख नहीं. जाइए आप भी किसी का टेस्ट लीजिए.
Higher allocation than the revised budget for the current financial year 2025-26, sir. Sir, coming to the allocations for our state, Andhra Pradesh, so we all know that Polavaram is a national project with 194 TMC storage capacity, 45.72 meters height, and an estimated cost of 55,000 crores, sir, which has to be spent by way of 100% central grants, sir. Sir, in the 2026-27 budget, an amount of 3,320 crores is allocated. There is a specific mention in the budget presentation that the revised cost of project is 30,436 crores for completion up to MDDL of 41.15 meters, and the balance central grant for the project is limited to 12,157 crores. Sir, at 41.15 meters, only 75 TMC of water can be stored. The objectives envisaged cannot be achieved if the project is restricted only to 41.15 meters height with only 75 TMC storage, sir. Sir, we on behalf of ISRCP bring to the notice of Government of India that this national project should be constructed up to 45.72 meters height, 194 storage capacity, 194 TMC storage capacity with an estimated and sanctioned amount of 55,000 crores, sir. Any change, any reduction to the sanctioned amount will severely affect the interests of crores of farmers across the state, sir. And we also request the Government of India to revisit and issue environmental clearance to the Rayalaseema lift irrigation scheme. Earlier in March 2025, it was rejected. EC was rejected due to lack of persuasion by the present state government, sir. Sir, I seek to draw your attention regarding the borrowings of our state Andhra Pradesh, sir. During 2019 to 2024, YSRCP tenure, considering all forms of liabilities, an amount of 3,32,000 crores was borrowed, sir. Whereas in the present tenure, in a span of just 20 months, an amount of 3,20,000 crores is contracted for borrowing so far, sir. Sir, generally all kinds of borrowing put together should not exceed 3.5% of state's GDP, sir. For instance, during 2014 to 19, the then state government borrowed 17,000 crores beyond their limit, and this excess borrowing was deducted from the borrowing limit of the next government during 2019 to 2024, sir. Sir, if the present pace of borrowing is continued, just like the President stated above, the borrowing limits of the next government will be deducted due to the present government's over excess borrowings, sir. The next government will not be in a position to pay even salaries and pensions if this abnormal pace of borrowings is permitted. Sir, our state government is raising off-budget borrowings, sir. In May 2025, an amount of 9,000 crores was borrowed by way of APMDC NCD issuances. The worst part here is private lender was given direct access to draw his servicing amount from the Consolidated Fund of Andhra Pradesh, sir, which is highly unconstitutional and unprecedented, sir. Sir, in December 2025, 5,750 crores was borrowed by way of APSBCL bonds. Sir, and recently, State Cabinet cleared a borrowing of additional 11,850 crores by way of APSBCL NCD issuances, sir. Sir, during financial year 2022 and 23, when the previous government tried for similar off-budget borrowing through APSBCL NCD issuances, the central government objected such borrowings, and the Ministry of Finance, it has issued circular, sir. Ministry of Finance has issued circular, wrote a letter to the Special CS of Andhra Pradesh Finance Department dated 27th March 2023 and stopped the state from taking such an off-budget borrowing. Sir, this kind of off-budget borrowings will have long-lasting ramifications. The next governments will have to pay their entire budget amount for repaying the interest, duly sacrificing salaries and pensions for employees and welfare schemes for the poor people. I request the Honorable FM to give clarity on this issue during her reply, sir. Sir, as I mentioned above, our state in a span of just 20 months borrowed 3,20,000 crores, but it could not allocate mere 5,000 crores for completing the 10 medical colleges out of the 17 new medical colleges taken up during the tenure of Sri Y.S. Jagannath Reddy Garu. Sir, bids are called for privatization the government medical colleges and hospitals, which will directly impact the poor, as they will not be in a position to afford costly treatment in these privatized hospitals, sir. Sir, an allocation of 96,000 crores is made for VBG Ramji scheme, which is new MGNREGS scheme, sir. Sir, state share is increased from 10% to 40%, because of which it is highly unlikely that the allocated amount is completely spent in the year 2026-27. We request the Government of India to implement the new scheme VBG Ramji with 90:10 ratio for our state, Andhra Pradesh, on par with other northeastern states, as our state's financial condition is very weak, sir. Sir, we request the Government of India to set up steel plant at Kadapa
which is part of assurance given to the Andhra Pradesh as part of AP Bifurcation Act 2014, sir. We brought this issue to the notice of this August House several times, and we once again request government to fulfill its promise, sir. Sir, we request the government of India to stop privatization of Vizag Steel Plant, and also request to allocate grant to clear the present dues of Vizag Steel Plant, sir. Sir, Kadapa to Bangalore railway line was sanctioned in 2010 with an outlay of 2,700 crores, sir. Sir, till date, only 10% of the work is completed, sir. We request the government of India to allocate sufficient funds for completion of this project. Initially, this project was sanctioned on 50:50 cost-sharing basis between central and state governments, sir. Sir, post-bifurcation, AP is not in a position to contribute its 50% share, sir. So, AP government has already requested the government of India to complete this project with 100% central funds. Sir, we request the government of India to consider the same and expedite construction of this new railway line between Kadapa to Bangalore, sir. With these submissions, I conclude my speech on discussion on union budget. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Sri Lalji Vamaji.
धन्यवाद मान्यवर, आपने अवसर दिया सामान्य चर्चा में हिस्सा लेने के लिए। माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी ने 9वां बजट प्रस्तुत किया। हम लोगों की अपेक्षा थी कि देश और प्रदेशों के लिए बहुत कुछ इस बजट में आएगा, लेकिन खोदा पहाड़ निकली चुहिया। मान्यवर, ये बजट माननीय मंत्री जी ने बताया विकासोन्मुख, समावेशी और भविष्यवादी बता रही हैं, लेकिन जमीनी सच्चाई से यह है कि यह बजट महंगाई से त्रस्त जनता को राहत नहीं देता, बेरोजगार युवाओं को आशा नहीं देता, किसानों को सुरक्षा नहीं देता और स्वास्थ्य शिक्षा जैसे मूल क्षेत्रों में निवेश से कतराता है। यह बजट आंकड़ों की बाजीगरी है, जनता की जरूरतों का समाधान नहीं है। माननीय मंत्री जी ने सुधार एक्सप्रेस कहा, सुधार एक्सप्रेस नहीं, उधार एक्सप्रेस है। ब्याज पर 26% है, 26.25%। इस बजट का 53,47,315 करोड़ में से करीब 26.25% केवल ब्याज पर खर्च किया जा रहा है। मान्यवर, बजट पहले बड़ा बनाया जाता है और फिर खर्च नहीं हो पाता। अभी 9 महीने बीत गए, 41% से ज्यादा पिछले इस वित्तीय वर्ष का बजट का खर्च नहीं हो पाया है। पिछले वर्ष जो संशोधित बजट है लगभग 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए कम हो गया है। दूसरे मान्यवर, माननीय मंत्री जी ने दूसरी बात का जो जिक्र किया है कि ये विकसित भारत का सबका साथ सबका विकास का बजट है, परंतु ये बजट सबका साथ नहीं देता। मान्यवर, इस प्रदेश में, इस देश में सबसे बड़ी आबादी ओबीसी का है, एसटी एससी का है, एसटी का। उसके हितों को अनदेखी करने का काम इस बजट में करने का काम किया गया है। आज रोजगार देने का सवाल है। देश में 45 केंद्रीय विश्वविद्यालय है, 38 विश्वविद्यालय के वाइस चांसलर सवर्ण है, एससी एसटी का उसमें नहीं दिया है। सारे जो केंद्रीय संस्थान है उसमें 80 से 64% पद पिछड़े और दलितों के खाली है। लगभग 10 लाख पद खाली है, उसके भर्ती का कोई इसमें खाका देने का काम इस बजट में नहीं किया गया है। माननीय, इसके साथ साथ आज देश की जो सबसे बड़ी समस्या है स्वास्थ्य की है। गरीब आदमी बीमार होता है, हृदय रोग से बीमार होता है, कैंसर से बीमार होता है, उसके लिए धन की व्यवस्था जो आयुष्मान भारत योजना है उसमें भी कोई 1 पैसे की इजाफा करने का काम नहीं किया गया है। उसमें भी खर्च कम हुआ है, पिछला जितना बजट था उसमें भी खर्च करने का काम कम किया गया। दूसरी तरफ मानवा, इसी तरह से पिछड़े वर्गों का जो किसान है, किसान के ऊपर इस बजट का जहां 70% लगभग कृषि से संबंधित लोग गांव में हैं, उस पे केवल 3.04% बजट है। शिक्षा पर 2.60% बजट है। स्वास्थ्य पर केवल 1.95% टोटल बजट का हिस्सा आता है। हमने एक संकल्प लिया था कि जीडीपी का 2.5% स्वास्थ्य का बजट होगा, लेकिन ये बजट 0.5% भी जीडीपी का नहीं है स्वास्थ्य पर, जिसके कारण देश के तमाम लोग बीमारी के शिकार होते हैं, उनका इलाज नहीं होता, उनका घर बार भी बिकने का काम होता है। इसी तरह से किसान का जब समय आता है बुआई का, खाद की जरूरत पड़ती है, तो उस खाद में उसके उर्वरक की जरूरत है। उस उर्वरक के बजट में पिछले बार जो खर्च किया था, जो संशोधित बजट है, उससे 7.5% कम इस बार माननीय मंत्री जी ने रसायन और उर्वरक पर रखने का काम किया है। तो निश्चित रूप से ये किसान के हितों को संरक्षित नहीं करता। और दूसरा सबसे महत्वपूर्ण था कि आज अमेरिका से डील हुआ, हमारा मार्केट अमेरिका कैप्चर करेगा, किसान और तबाह होगा। हमें उसके न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य की गारंटी का देने की आवश्यकता थी, उस पर भी ये बजट मौन है, उनको भी गारंटी देने का काम नहीं करता। माननीय, हम लोगों ने बड़ी अपेक्षा किया था कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जो सरकार है, ये अयोध्या के नाम पर बनाने का काम किया गया और उस अयोध्या के इस बजट में पूरी तरह से उपेक्षा किया गया, पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश की उपेक्षा किया गया। अयोध्या के लिए भी इस बजट में कोई व्यवस्था नहीं किया गया है। मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से आपके माध्यम से कहना चाहूंगा कि वहां पर कम से कम एक एम्स तो बना दीजिए, जिससे आपका उनके साथ जो भेदभाव है उससे छुटकारा मिलने का काम हो सके। दूसरे पिछड़ी जातियों का, मानवर, सबका साथ सबका विकास, ये कैसा सबका साथ है कि परीक्षा में जहां भर्ती होती है, प्रवक्ता अंग्रेजी का अनरिजर्व्ड का कट ऑफ है 64 और ओबीसी का कट ऑफ है 87, उसको उसमें माइग्रेट नहीं करने का काम किया। जबकि माननीय हमारे नेता ने कहा कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का एक फैसला है, उस फैसले के आधार पर अगर पिछड़ी जात का व्यक्ति किसी लाभ को नहीं लिया है, न उम्र में न अटेम्प्ट में, तो निश्चित रूप से उसको अनरिजर्व्ड कैटेगरी में अगर उसका मार्क ज्यादा है तो उसको शामिल किया जाना चाहिए। इसमें वो शामिल करने का काम नहीं किया गया। इस माइग्रेशन न होने के कारण तमाम मान्यवर इसमें तमाम तरह की दिक्कतें आती हैं। तो मेरी ये मांग है कि माइग्रेशन को करके सबका साथ जो सबका विकास का नारा है उस पर धरातल पर लाने का प्रयास करें। दूसरा माननीय, मैं आपसे निवेदन करना चाहूंगा कि हम लोगों की बड़ी अपेक्षा थी, महंगाई बढ़ रही है 6-7% से ज्यादा, ये बजट 5.5% का पिछले बार के बजट से वृद्धि है, महंगाई उससे ज्यादा बढ़ गई, यानी बजट पिछले बार से भी समझिए कम है। लेकिन दूसरी तरफ बड़ी अपेक्षाएं थी कि माननीय मंत्री जी नवा बजट प्रस्तुत कर रही हैं, विकास मुखी बजट होगा, प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क की योजना का के लिए ज्यादा धन दिया जाएगा, उसके लिए स्कीमें जो बनाने का है, जो उसका मानक तय किया गया है, उस मानक में सुधार किया जाएगा। हर विधानसभा हर लोकसभा क्षेत्र में सांसद के प्रस्ताव पर सड़कें ली जाएगी, उसका कोई इसमें समाधान नहीं है। दूसरी तरफ जो सांसद निधि है, सारे सांसदों को मानवर 5 करोड़ लंबे समय से चली आ रही, महंगाई 10 गुना बढ़ गया, निधि 5 करोड़ है, 1 किलोमीटर सड़क बनने में 1 करोड़ रुपया लगता है। हमारी ये मांग है माननीय मंत्री जी, अगर आप विकास के तरफ जाना चाहती हैं, सभी क्षेत्रों को आप विकास के तरफ ले जाना चाहते हैं, तो सांसद निधि कम से कम 25 करोड़ रुपया अनिवार्य रूप से करने का काम किया जाए। हम लोगों की अपेक्षा थी कि इसमें किया जाए। दूसरा हमारी मांग है, मान्यवर, गरीब आदमी कैंसर से बीमार होता है। मेरा आपसे निवेदन है, माननीय मंत्री जी से आपके माध्यम से निवेदन है कि कम से कम और बीमारियों को छोड़ दे, कैंसर जैसी बीमारी को पूरी तरह से फ्री कर दे। सरकार उसके लिए संपूर्ण धन देने का काम करे, जिससे आम नागरिक की सुरक्षा हो सके, ऐसा मेरा आपके माध्यम से मांग है। मान्यवर, एक निवेदन और करके मैं अपनी बात को खत्म कर रहा हूं। मान्यवर, महंगाई, ये बजट महंगाई से राहत नहीं देता, रोजगार की गारंटी नहीं देता। रोजगार कहा, आउटसोर्सिंग को रोजगार माना है, इसी तरह से स्वास्थ्य शिक्षा में परिवार निवेश नहीं करता, सामाजिक न्याय को मजबूत नहीं करता।
बैठे Now it is already 6. If the house agrees, we will extend the house till 8 p.m. Yes, house is extended up to 8 p.m. Now please conclude the last sentence.
जीडीपी का कम से कम 2.5% हो, रोजगार के लिए स्पष्ट भर्ती कैलेंडर किया जाए, किसानों को न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य की गारंटी दी जाए, शिक्षा स्वास्थ्य में वास्तविक निवेश हो। ये मेरा आपके माध्यम से निवेदन है,
धन्यवाद श्री कार्तिक
और सांसद निधि 25 करोड़ कम से कम किया जाए, ये मेरा आपसे निवेदन।
Thank you, sir. At the outset, I'd like to congratulate the Finance Minister for presenting 9 consecutive budgets. It's not a mean feat, Waltikal. Especially it's commendable because she represents a party which draws its inspiration and its genesis from an all-male organization. In that background, Finance Minister, a lady from my state, presenting 9 budgets is remarkable. Meendum Waltikal. Sir, this budget is in the backdrop of the much touted trade deal. To my understanding, this trade deal is nothing but borrow the words of Winston Churchill, a riddle wrapped in a mystery and inside an enigma. I hope the Finance Minister, when she addresses the House, will shed some light into this trade deal. Whether India is obligated to buy $500 billion worth of goods from the United States? Are we allowed to buy oil from our long-standing friend Russia? Are we allowed to buy oil from Iran, with whom we have a long-standing relationship? Will these decisions be taken sovereignly in India, or will it be taken by the White House? Are we obligated to buy oil from the new colony of America, Venezuela? And most importantly, are we going to allow agricultural products of America into India in zero tariff? If so, what products? The Finance Minister